significance is huge.
This is a vision we believe in. This is a vision that has impact.
Africa will not be left behind.
It's shown what can be possible on the continent.
I feel empowered.
Today, it's a dream come true.
People will look at Africa as having found itself.
The baobab, tree of knowledge, tree of life, symbolic of Africa's richness of wisdom through the ages, spreading roots across the continent, a timeless foundation to anchor, enrich and inspire each generation, and the inspiration for the Afreximbank Academy, AFRICAD, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub. Established to advance African talent across our stakeholder groups, including corporates and SMEs, sovereigns and parastatals, financial and educational institutions, and Afreximbank staff. AFRICAD strives to build the capacity of Africa and Africans in all trade-related matters, enhance knowledge and skills in trade finance across the continent, create a center of excellence to facilitate knowledge transfer, best practice, research, collaboration, better connection among the bank's internal and external stakeholders, and improve stakeholders' ability to support the bank's mandate of transforming Africa's trade. Ultimately, AFRICAD is the go-to hub for Afrocentric trade knowledge, helping to unlock trade development opportunities across the continent. The Academy provides high-impact learning solutions in trade and project finance, industrial capacity, innovation, professional development and leadership, trade language, and knowledge and networking, helping to rapidly digitize the future of Africa and improve the trade environment by promoting knowledge of trade and commodity finance, risk-based financing, robust and transparent product standards, access to financing, sustainable business practices, and by embracing cultural and language differences, expanding the knowledge of trade agency professionals, as well as automating, digitizing, and instigating innovation. Learning is delivered using the hybrid approach, combining physical locations and digital channels to maximum effect for a fully immersive AFRICAD learning experience. Discover how you can start leveraging the Afreximbank Academy today at www.africad.com. Afreximbank Academy, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub.
The African Export-Import Bank, a proudly Pan-African institution with a vision to transform Africa's trade. Our mission, to stimulate a consistent expansion, diversification and development of African trade, while operating as a first-class, profit-oriented, socially responsible financial institution and a center of excellence in African trade matters. Today, we represent global Africa, with 53 participating African states and 13 participating Caribbean states. Our strategy, to realize impact through purposeful interventions based around 4 pillars. Pillar 1, intra-African trade and AFCFTA implementation. Pillar 2, Industrialisation and Export Development. Pillar 3, Leadership in Global Trade Banking in Africa. And Pillar 4, Financial Sustainability. Afreximbank, transforming Africa's trade.
There's a great opportunity. It is about our cultural heritage and our global influence.
This will bring the change. We can generate so much to the economy.
We can take our destiny in our hands.
To create prosperity, we must have the intra-African trade. One single market, it must happen in Africa. And by the grace of God, we'll push that through.
It's a story of collaboration and it's a story of vision.
We want to compete favorably. Absolutely nothing can stop us from achieving that dream.
I think we are here to stay.
Africa's challenges require African-led solutions.
We see knowledge sharing, we see skills advancement.
There's a great opportunity for Africa to industrialize.
We are pioneering everything we do on the continent.
The scale is extraordinary.
The significance is huge.
This is a vision we believe in. This is a vision that has impact.
Africa will not be left behind.
It's shown what can be possible on the continent.
I feel empowered.
Today, it's a dream come true.
People will look at Africa as having found itself.
The baobab, tree of knowledge, tree of life, symbolic of Africa's richness of wisdom through the ages, spreading roots across the continent, a timeless foundation to anchor, enrich and inspire each generation, and the inspiration for the Afreximbank Academy, AFRICAD, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub. Established to advance African talent across our stakeholder groups, including corporates and SMEs, sovereigns and parastatals, financial and educational institutions, and Afreximbank staff. AFRICAD strives to build the capacity of Africa and Africans in all trade-related matters, enhance knowledge and skills in trade finance across the continent, create a center of excellence to facilitate knowledge transfer, best practice, research, collaboration, better connection among the bank's internal and external stakeholders, and improve stakeholders' ability to support the bank's mandate of transforming Africa's trade. Ultimately, AFRICAD is the go-to hub for Afrocentric trade knowledge, helping to unlock trade development opportunities across the continent. The Academy provides high-impact learning solutions in trade and project finance, industrial capacity, innovation, professional development and leadership, trade language, and knowledge and networking, helping to rapidly digitize the future of Africa and improve the trade environment by promoting knowledge of trade and commodity finance, risk-based financing, robust and transparent product standards, access to financing, sustainable business practices, and by embracing cultural and language differences, expanding the knowledge of trade agency professionals, as well as automating, digitizing, and instigating innovation. Learning is delivered using the hybrid approach, combining physical locations and digital channels to maximum effect for a fully immersive AFRICAD learning experience. Discover how you can start leveraging the Afreximbank Academy today at www.africad.com. Afreximbank Academy, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub.
The African Export-Import Bank, a proudly Pan-African institution with a vision to transform Africa's trade. Our mission to stimulate a consistent expansion, diversification and development of African trade while operating as a first-class, profit-oriented, socially responsible financial institution and a center of excellence in African trade matters. Today, we represent global Africa, with 53 participating African states and 13 participating Caribbean states. Our strategy to realize impact through purposeful interventions based around 4 pillars. Pillar 1, intra-African trade and AFCFTA implementation. Pillar 2, industrialization and export development. Pillar 3, leadership in global trade banking in Africa. And Pillar 4, financial sustainability. Afreximbank, transforming Africa's trade.
There's a great opportunity. It is about our cultural heritage and our global influence.
This will bring the change. We can generate so much to the economy.
We can take our destiny in our hands.
To create prosperity, we must have the intra-African trade. One single market, it must happen in Africa. And by the grace of God, we'll push that through.
It's a story of collaboration and it's a story of vision.
We want to compete favorably. Absolutely nothing can stop us from achieving that dream.
I think we are here to stay.
Africa's challenges require African-led solutions.
We see knowledge sharing, we see skills advancement.
There's a great opportunity for Africa to industrialize.
We are pioneering everything we do on the continent.
The scale is extraordinary.
The significance is huge.
This is a vision we believe in. This is a vision that has impact.
Africa will not be left behind.
It's shown what can be possible on the continent.
I feel empowered.
Today, it's a dream come true.
People will look at Africa as having found itself.
The baobab, tree of knowledge, tree of life, symbolic of Africa's richness of wisdom through the ages, spreading roots across the continent, a timeless foundation to anchor, enrich and inspire each generation, and the inspiration for the Afreximbank Academy, AFRICAD, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub. Established to advance African talent across our stakeholder groups, including corporates and SMEs, sovereigns and parastatals, financial and educational institutions, and Afreximbank staff. AFRICAD strives to build the capacity of Africa and Africans in all trade-related matters, enhance knowledge and skills in trade finance across the continent, create a center of excellence to facilitate knowledge transfer, best practice, research, collaboration, better connection among the bank's internal and external stakeholders, and improve stakeholders' ability to support the bank's mandate of transforming Africa's trade. Ultimately, AFRICAD is the go-to hub for Afrocentric trade knowledge, helping to unlock trade development opportunities across the continent. The Academy provides high-impact learning solutions in trade and project finance, industrial capacity, innovation, professional development and leadership, trade language, and knowledge and networking, helping to rapidly digitize the future of Africa and improve the trade environment by promoting knowledge of trade and commodity finance, risk-based financing, robust and transparent product standards, access to financing, sustainable business practices, and by embracing cultural and language differences, expanding the knowledge of trade agency professionals, as well as automating, digitizing, and instigating innovation. Learning is delivered using the hybrid approach, combining physical locations and digital channels to maximum effect for a fully immersive AfriCAD learning experience. Discover how you can start leveraging the Afreximbank Academy today at www.africad.com. Afreximbank Academy, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub.
The African Export-Import Bank, a proudly Pan-African institution with a vision to transform Africa's trade. Our mission, to stimulate a consistent expansion, diversification and development of African trade, while operating as a first-class, profit-oriented, socially responsible financial institution and a center of excellence in African trade matters. Today, we represent global Africa, with 53 participating African states and 13 participating Caribbean states. Our strategy, to realize impact through purposeful interventions based around 4 pillars. Pillar 1, intra-African trade and AFCFTA implementation. Pillar 2, industrialization and export development. Pillar 3, leadership in global trade banking in Africa. And Pillar 4, financial sustainability. Afreximbank, transforming Africa's trade.
There's a great opportunity. It is about our cultural heritage and our global influence.
This will bring the change. We can generate so much to the economy.
We can take our destiny in our hands.
To create prosperity, we must have the intra-African trade. One single market, it must happen in Africa. And by the grace of God, we'll push that through.
It's a story of collaboration and it's a story of vision.
We want to compete favorably. Absolutely nothing can stop us from achieving that dream.
I think we are here to stay.
Africa's challenges require African-led solutions.
We see knowledge sharing, we see skills advancement.
There's a great opportunity for Africa to industrialize.
We are pioneering everything we do on the continent.
The scale is extraordinary.
The significance is huge.
This is a vision we believe in. This is a vision that has impact.
Africa will not be left behind.
It's shown what can be possible on the continent.
I feel empowered.
Today, it's a dream come true.
People will look at Africa as having found itself.
baobab, tree of knowledge, tree of life, symbolic of Africa's richness of wisdom through the ages, spreading roots across the continent, a timeless foundation to anchor, enrich and inspire each generation, and the inspiration for the Afreximbank Academy, AFRICAD, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub. Established to advance African talent across our stakeholder groups, including corporates and SMEs, sovereigns and parastatals, financial and educational institutions, and Afreximbank staff. AFRICAD strives to build the capacity of Africa and Africans in all trade-related matters, enhance knowledge and skills in trade finance across the continent, create a center of excellence to facilitate knowledge transfer, best practice, research, collaboration, better connection among the bank's internal and external stakeholders, and improve stakeholders' ability to support the bank's mandate of transforming Africa's trade. Ultimately, AFRICAD is the go-to hub for Afrocentric trade knowledge, helping to unlock trade development opportunities across the continent. The Academy provides high-impact learning solutions in trade and project finance, industrial capacity, innovation, professional development and leadership, trade language, and knowledge and networking, helping to rapidly digitize the future of Africa and improve the trade environment by promoting knowledge of trade and commodity finance, risk-based financing, robust and transparent product standards, access to financing, sustainable business practices, and by embracing cultural and language differences, expanding the knowledge of trade agency professionals, as well as automating, digitizing, and instigating innovation. Learning is delivered using the hybrid approach, combining physical locations and digital channels to maximum effect for a fully immersive AFRICAD learning experience. Discover how you can start leveraging the Afreximbank Academy today at www.africad.com. Afreximbank Academy, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub.
The African Export-Import Bank, a proudly Pan-African institution with a vision to transform Africa's trade. Our mission, to stimulate a consistent expansion, diversification and development of African trade, while operating as a first-class, profit-oriented, socially responsible financial institution and a center of excellence in African trade matters. Today, we represent global Africa, with 53 participating African states and 13 participating Caribbean states. Our strategy, to realize impact through purposeful interventions based around 4 pillars. Pillar 1, Intra-African Trade and AFCFTA implementation. Pillar 2, Industrialisation and Export Development. Pillar 3, Leadership in Global Trade Banking in Africa. And Pillar 4, Financial Sustainability. Afreximbank, transforming Africa's trade.
There's a great opportunity. It is about our cultural heritage and our global influence.
This will bring the change. We can generate so much to the economy.
We can take our destiny in our hands.
To create prosperity, we must have the intra-African trade. One single market, it must happen in Africa. And by the grace of God, we'll push that through.
It's a story of collaboration and it's a story of vision.
We want to compete favorably. Absolutely nothing can stop us from achieving that dream.
I think we are here to stay.
Africa's challenges require African-led solutions.
We see knowledge sharing, we see skills advancement.
There's a great opportunity for Africa to industrialize.
We are pioneering everything we do on the continent.
The scale is extraordinary.
The significance is huge.
This is a vision we believe in. This is a vision that has impact.
Africa will not be left behind.
It's shown what can be possible on the continent.
I feel empowered.
Today, it's a dream come true.
People will look at Africa as having found itself.
The baobab, tree of knowledge, tree of life, symbolic of Africa's richness of wisdom through the ages, spreading roots across the continent, a timeless foundation to anchor, enrich and inspire each generation, and the inspiration for the Afreximbank Academy, AFRICAD, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub. Established to advance African talent across our stakeholder groups, including corporates and SMEs, sovereigns and parastatals, financial and educational institutions, and Afreximbank staff. AFRICAD strives to build the capacity of Africa and Africans in all trade-related matters, enhance knowledge and skills in trade finance across the continent, create a center of excellence to facilitate knowledge transfer, best practice, research, collaboration, better connection among the bank's internal and external stakeholders, and improve stakeholders' ability to support the bank's mandate of transforming Africa's trade. Ultimately, AFRICAD is the go-to hub for Afrocentric.
Hello, good morning. We will now start the program. Can I ask those outside to please join us in? Could you please come in? Oops. Please be seated. Media, just give us a second, please. Let's wait for everyone to just find the places within the room. And yes, please just, if I may ask you to be up standing for the Jamaican national anthem, and thereafter please remain standing for the Afreximbank anthem. Media, please. Please remain standing for the Afreximbank anthem.
Within the shores of the motherland and far beyond, with dignity we rise and we build a bridge for all. With integrity, respect, trust, excellence, commitment, creativity. We will build for Africa's prosperity. We will build for the now and posterity. As we standing together, we prepare to forever. We are transforming Africa's trade. Oh, we are Afreximbank. We will build for Africa's prosperity. We will build for the now and posterity. As we standing together, we prepare to forever. We are transforming Africa's trade. Oh, we are Afreximbank. Salam. Oh yeah, my way, salam. Oh yeah, my way, salam.
Thank you very much. You may have your seats. Good morning once again, and welcome to the Afreximbank Roadshow in Jamaica. For some housekeeping rules. First of all is to request that we may please keep our phones on silence. If possible, if we can switch them off, that would be very well welcome. For the Wi-Fi password, I will ask the media team to display that shortly on our screens, the Wi-Fi and the password that you can use to access the internet in these premises. The bathrooms, when you exit through the doors behind you, you take a right and then another right. You should see the bathrooms down the corridors. And most importantly, I hope that you're all feeling airy this morning. Fantastic. Once again, welcome to the Afreximbank Roadshow in Jamaica. And this is our very first roadshow in Jamaica. The Afreximbank Roadshow is one of our foremost platform that we have been engaging in to engage our communities, our stakeholders, to bring the Afreximbank mandate and vision and mission closer to our constituencies, to our member countries, to our business communities. So it's a great pleasure to be here today, to be able to share that with you here in Jamaica. So as we start off this the program, so allow me to establish the protocols for the day. Shortly, we will be joined by Honorable Favor Williams, Minister of Finance and Public Service in Jamaica, who should be underway. Ambassador Esmond Reed, the Undersecretary Trade, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who's here with us. Mr. Eric Intong, the Group Managing Director, Client Relations and Regional Operations of Afreximbank. Ms. Barbara Hume, the CEO of the Jamaica Bankers Association. Captains of industries, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you're all welcome to our roadshow. Today we chose a very distinguished theme to accompany us on this roadshow here in Jamaica. The roadshow theme, empowering Jamaica's growth, catalyzing trade investment and industrialization through tailored Afreximbank Solutions, is a very timely and very meaningful theme that we have chosen for this market. And shortly you will get to understand why when you hear from my colleagues, when you hear from our mission leader, Mr. Intong, who speaks very passionately about the mandate of the bank. But for now, allow me to just break down why this theme and why now and why Jamaica. Jamaica is a very significant economy in the Caribbean, and for us at Afreximbank. It is the most recent member state of the CARICOM to have joined Afreximbank last year in July 2025. And this is just one of the milestones that we're counting in a very in an unexpected long-standing relationship with Jamaica. Jamaica is very economically, it is a sound, as you will all agree with me, it's a sound economy with a nominal GDP of $20 billion in 2025. That for a country of about 3 million people is not shabby at all, if you ask me. The country well endowed with natural resources, both renewable and non-renewable, such as alumina, bauxite, coffee, water, wind, sunlight. Looking at all these factors, it was a matter of course for us to hold this roadshow here today in Jamaica. Although the country experienced some setbacks following the Hurricane Melissa sometime last year, we believe this presents a classic post-shock recovery opportunity. There are various opportunities in the areas of reconstruction spending, infrastructure modernization, deployment of renewable energy, climate resilience infrastructure. And we also believe that for investors with long-term horizons, they may find this an attractive opportunity. They may find attractive opportunities in sectors linked to rebuilding, supply chain diversification, urban transport, digital services, and very many others that you will get to hear shortly from my colleagues. As Afreximbankers, as we like to call ourselves, an institution that is mandated to transform trade in global Africa, not just Africa, but global Africa. This includes our brothers and sisters in the CARICOM, here in Jamaica too. We view Jamaica as of strategically importance within the Caribbean, given your strong private sector, geographic position, logistics potential, and growing role in regional trade and investment. And we do hope and pray that at the end of our time here, at the end of the week, we would have laid the foundations for long-term partnerships, for future transactions that will support economic growth, trade expansion, industrialization, and regional integration for the benefit of Jamaicans and the greater global Africa. So, without further ado, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to invite our Group Managing Director, Mr. Eric Intong, to make some opening remarks. Please, let's welcome him on stage.
Don't mind me, I look too serious on the photo, but this is the real me, okay? So good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to stand on existing protocol already established by our regional manager for communications. I'm so happy to be here this morning, and I'm very happy that you are all here this morning. This is a family conversation we're having. Discussion in the house, discussion in the family. So let me start by telling you a very hearty congratulations for making it here today. I trust that by the time we finish here and we're going back, we'll be very satisfied because we would have defined a roadmap that allows us to take our destiny into our hands. On behalf of the President and Chairman of the Board of Directors, Dr. George Elombi, and the Executive Management of the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to this landmark and momentous Afreximbank Business Development Roadshow here at the AC Marriott Hotel in Kingston, Jamaica. This is a historic occasion as it marks the first roadshow in Jamaica following the country's accession to the Afreximbank Partnership Agreement in July 2025, a milestone reflective of the deepening bonds between Jamaica and the African continent. Your participation this morning is therefore a powerful demonstration of the shared ambition that underpins this evolving and positive relationship. Our mission is therefore to reaffirm Afreximbank's commitment to facilitating the sustained growth and development of Jamaica and the entire region through the deepening of trade and investment ties between Africa, the Caribbean, and the Africans in the diaspora. Consequently, this Business Development Roadshow is organized under the theme Empowering Jamaica's Growth, Catalyzing Trade, Investment and Industrialization through Tailored Afreximbank Solutions. These solutions shall be crafted and put together by all of us here present. And these will highlight the opportunities which exist for the key decision makers, economic players, and stakeholders in attendance to access Afreximbank's comprehensive suite of products and services, which are specifically designed to support the region's evolving business needs and development priorities. With a mandate to finance, promote, and facilitate intra- and extra-African trade, Afreximbank has provided innovative solutions to its member countries on the continent for over 33 years. These solutions cover a wide range of much-needed interventions, including the provisions of trade finance and project finance, project preparation facilities, the establishment of special economic zones, establishment of industrial parks, the deployment of initiatives such as the Africa Trade Gateway, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, the Collaborative Transit Guarantee Scheme, the AFCFTA Adjustment Fund, that is, the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement Adjustment Fund, that allows member countries to open their borders and unify a single African market, to which the Caribbean and Jamaica in particular are being integrated. In accordance with the African Union's recognition of the diaspora as the sixth region of Africa, the diaspora, including the Caribbean and more specifically Jamaica, and of course, the historical, cultural, and social ties binding Africa and the Caribbean, in 2022, during the inaugural Afro-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum, ACTIV, Afreximbank expanded its reach to the Caribbean region, allowing for member states of the Caribbean community to accede to the Afreximbank Partnership Agreement, thereby becoming the beneficiaries of the solution offered by the bank. Since then, Afreximbank has made significant strides in the region. To date, 13 of the 15 CARICOM member states have become member countries, with Jamaica joining in July 2025. I think this deserves a round of applause. Thank you very much for your generous clapping. God will bless you. We have successfully hosted subsequent trade and investment forums after the inaugural one in Barbados. We've hosted one in Guyana, in the Bahamas, and last year it was in the Grenada in 2023, 2024, and 2025, respectively, with a 5th edition slated later this year in St. Kitts and Nevis from 29 to 31st of July 2026. We are all invited. In 2023, the bank opened a regional office in Bridgetown, Barbados, the first outside of the African continent, and a clear signal of our enduring commitment to the region. From the Caribbean office, Afreximbank has disbursed over $500 million in the region across a diverse portfolio of transactions. Notably, Afreximbank, as a global coordinator and joint mandated lead arranger, Afreximbank acted as a global coordinator and joint mandated lead arranger for a $1.6 billion senior secured term loan facility in favor of Staatsolie, the Surinamese state-owned energy company. This transaction represented the largest project finance in Suriname's history and the first syndicated loan mandated to Afreximbank in the Caribbean. If we did it, thank you. If we did it in Suriname, we are here to do it in Jamaica. Beyond the landmark transaction, the bank disbursed $6 million to education rehabilitation climate-linked sovereign loan to the government of St. Lucia, supporting the rebuilding of 25 schools damaged by Tropical Storm Brett, and a $25 million facility to Kingston Oval Management Incorporated for the rehabilitation of sports infrastructure in Barbados. More recently, Afreximbank announced the board of directors' approval to increase the region's financing limit from $3 billion to $5 billion. I'm sure we know what is $5 billion. Imagine we just inject $1 billion into this economy. We know the positive externalities that is going to bring. These accomplishments set the stage for what we can achieve together in Jamaica. Jamaica's key goods producing industries, agriculture, forestry, fishing, mining, tourism, quarrying, manufacturing, and construction are directly aligned with the sectors in which Afreximbank has extensive expertise and impactful track records. On the continent, Afreximbank provides financial and technical support to the mining and extractive sectors, such as quarrying, to enable the implementation and deployment of infrastructure investment needed to extract minerals and process them for export through its project and asset-based finance and the trade finance solutions, and enables the participation of local service providers through local content facilities, thereby supporting job creation, inclusive growth, technology and knowledge transfer. We just call on the government to provide the enabling environment. Moreover, the bank has actively involved in the establishment of special economic zones and industrial parks across Africa to promote industrial development and facilitate trade. Key initiatives include $450 million global credit facility with Arise Integrated Industrial Platform, who is an investee company with Afreximbank being the majority shareholder. to support the development of industrial parks and special economic zones and the provision of crucial trade finance support to businesses operating in Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Chad, Gabon, Benin, Democratic Republic of Congo, Togo, and Rwanda, more recently, Malawi. Our ambitions for Jamaica extend beyond the aforementioned industries. Tourism, as one of the most significant drivers of Jamaica's economy, is equally central to our vision. Tourism ranks among Afreximbank priority sectors for Caribbean financing, and will bring to it both capital and clear strategic vision. On the continent, the bank has actively financed hospitality infrastructure, tourism value chains, and destination investment across several countries. It means we can do the same here in Jamaica. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with all these sentiments, solidarity, ambition, partnership, love, that this roadshow was organized. Our goal is to ensure that our engagements translate into tangible and shared growth and prosperity for our regions. As Afreximbank is not merely a financier, we are a long-term partner, a partner for the long haul, and we invest in sustainable development to emancipate our member countries economically. This is the true freedom we seek. This is the true independence we want to achieve for our people. I therefore urge each and every one of us here present to engage actively in the deliberations today. Ask questions, challenge ideas, explore the opportunities, understand the programs and facilities, own the bank. It is your bank. It is our golden opportunity. It is an opportunity to unite ourselves and take our destiny into our hands. Long live the Republic of Jamaica. Long live Global Africa. Long live Afreximbank. Thank you very much for your time.
If we did it in Suriname, we can do it in Jamaica. If we did it in Ivory Coast, we can do it in Jamaica. If we did it in the DRC, we can do it in Jamaica. I always have a hard time picking up after Mr. Intong. He's quite a tough act to follow after. So thank you very much, GMD, for these powerful remarks. Let's just call it a morning of possibilities. So while we continue to wait for our chief guest, ladies and gentlemen, I will call on our second speaker to make our remarks, Ms. Barbara Hume, the CEO of the Jamaica Bankers Association. Please, let's welcome her. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. All protocols having been observed, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of our president, Mrs. Audrey Tugwell-Henry, who is unavoidably absent, she sends her apologies, our board of directors and our member institutions, many of whom are here today, I extend a warm welcome to our host delegation from Afreximbank, led by their managing director, Eric, members of Jamaica's banking and financial community, business leaders, exporters, entrepreneurs, investors, and friends. Welcome, everyone. On behalf of the Jamaica Bankers Association, I'm delighted to greet Afreximbank on its first official mission to Jamaica since our country became one of its Caribbean partners in July 2025. Today is about possibility, but it is also about practicality. For the entities in this room, the question is not whether Jamaica and Africa share history. That much is evident. The question is rather, what can we source, build, finance, sell, and scale together right now? Africa is present in Jamaica's identity every day. The Akan traditions of Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire live on in Anansi and in our folklore. Yoruba and Igbo influences from Nigeria are part of our cultural and spiritual inheritance. The Congo region speaks through Kumina and other retentions in music, dance, and ceremony. Ethiopia holds a special place in Jamaica's imagination through Rastafari and Pan-African thought. Those ties give us familiarity and warmth, but they should also give us confidence to pursue new commercial relationships with seriousness. For Jamaican companies, the opportunities are concrete. There are African consumers, distributors, hotels, retailers, developers, and investors who may have an appetite for Jamaican products and services. Think of Blue Mountain Coffee, premium rum, sauces, spices, wellness products, nutraceuticals, cosmetics, and processed foods. Think also of reggae, dancehall, film, animation, fashion, sport, live events, and the intellectual property that sits behind our creative industries. There are also strong possibilities in services. Jamaica's experience in tourism and hospitality, from training and guest services to entertainment, food, destination marketing, and hotel operations can be relevant to African destinations. Our global digital services, education, professional services, and logistics capabilities can also travel. The opportunity is not one way. African firms in cocoa, shea, textiles, fashion, pharmaceuticals, packaging, renewable energy, agribusiness, infrastructure, technology, and manufacturing can be suppliers, partners, investors, and joint venture counterparts for Jamaican businesses. Markets such as Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Rwanda, Ethiopia, and Côte d'Ivoire should be part of a more deliberate conversation about business development. Afreximbank's presence matters because financing is often the difference between interest and execution. And its support goes well beyond trade finance. As I'm sure we'll hear more about very shortly, Afreximbank can also provide project financing for mining, manufacturing, infrastructure, and export-led expansion. That is important for Jamaican companies looking at, among other initiatives, plant upgrades, agro-processing facilities, logistics and cold chain assets, renewable energy solutions, mining-related projects, export manufacturing, or the infrastructure needed to reach new markets. So, to our business leaders here, I encourage you to be specific in your conversations. Ask which African markets might suit your product. Ask where you can get information regarding what certifications, packaging standards, distribution partners, shipping arrangements, or payment structures you will need. Ask how your company can become bankable for export growth or project financing. Ask what would it take to move from a promising idea to a financed transaction. To my colleague financial institutions here, our role is equally clear. We must help credible Jamaican businesses to prepare, finance, comply, and execute. We must support them with advice, financing facilities, risk management, and introductions. We must also work with Afreximbank, with our own Exim Bank of Jamaica and with the Development Bank of Jamaica to identify projects and companies that are ready for serious engagement. Jamaica may be small in geography, but we have never been small in influence. Africa is a vast, dynamic, young, creative, and increasingly connected. Between us lies not only memory, but a new commercial corridor waiting to be built. To Afreximbank, welcome to Jamaica. To our financial partners, the Exim Bank of Jamaica and the Development Bank of Jamaica, thank you for helping to create the framework. To our business leaders, thank you for bringing the ambition. May today lead to practical relationships, bankable projects, and real transactions between Jamaica and Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barbara. Thank you for those very encouraging and warm remarks. Can I ask the media to play our series of impact stories, the trailer? Please go ahead.
About our culture. Heritage and our global influence.
This will bring the change. We can generate so much to the economy.
We can take our destiny in their hands.
To create prosperity, we must have the intra-African trade. One single market, it must happen in Africa. And by the grace of God, we'll push that through.
It's a story of collaboration and it's a story of vision.
We want to compete favorably. Absolutely nothing can stop us from achieving that dream.
I think we are here to stay.
Africa's challenges require African-led solutions.
We see knowledge sharing, we see skills advancement.
There's a great opportunity for Africa to industrialize.
We are pioneering everything we do on the continent.
The scale is extraordinary.
The significance is huge.
This is a vision we believe in. This is a vision that has impact.
Africa will not be left behind.
It's shown what can be possible on the continent.
I feel empowered.
Today, it's a dream come true.
People will look at Africa as having found itself.
Thank you very much. I thought it would be good to ensue the next phases of the program with this impact story short video. Our impact stories are our very powerful narrative that we use to tell the impact of the work that we have done across global Africa. As you might have seen, we had interventions in Grenada, Nigeria, in Ivory Coast, and I hope that next time when we meet here, we should be able to share the impact that we have been able to have on the Jamaican economy. So moving on, as I mentioned, that there's no one who speaks more passionately about the Afreximbank mandates, its vision, and breaks down the products and services that we have to offer you today, other than our very own Group Managing Director, Mr. Eric Kintong, who just gave us the opening remarks, but we'll call him back on stage, sir. If you can join us back here and speak to us some more about the mandate of Afreximbank as we continue to wait for our chief guest. Thank you. So media, can we have his presentation cued? Thank you.
It is not a speech, it's a presentation. And the first job I did was teaching. This presentation is the very reason why we are here. And please, I crave your indulgence to prepare your notebooks, be ready to take notes, be ready to ask questions. At the end of the presentation, we'll understand why we have to start finding solutions for our own economic emancipation. If we are using this expression, economic emancipation, over and over again, it's because it's been long awaited. So the emphasis is necessary. Don't be tired of hearing it. We need to implement and we need to action it right now. So let me take you through the very reason why Afreximbank was created, its mandates, its programs and facilities. So you see that is the menu, 33-year journey, current strategic plan, strategic initiatives and continental policy efforts, products and programs, Afreximbank latest awards, questions and answers. I think there are some operations in the Caribbean as well. I hope we have the right presentation because. So Afreximbank, I know you can't read, but the documents will be made available. I hope, Emin, we have the means to be able to make this presentation available today, now, not tomorrow or next week. Here, at the end of the presentation, it should be sent to them now. Do we have email addresses? We'll make sure that they are made available so that people can read and understand some of the things which I will not be able to explain here in the interest of time. So the bank was created as a child of necessity. Those who watched the TV yesterday, I was trying to summarize. On the 12th of August 1982, the Minister of Finance of Mexico gathered courage and told American financial institutions, American banks, the World Bank and the IMF that they will not be able to pay their debt obligation that was due on the 16th of August 1982. And that became a default. That triggered 16 other Latin American countries to also declare a default. 11 other African states also declared a default. And of course, this translated into a global economic crisis. Because of that, African heads of state came together and said, let us create a bank that will support member countries, especially during difficult moments. You know, when there are global crises, Africa and the Caribbean suffer the most. Import prices shoot up, inflation skyrockets, interest rates blow through the roofs, and everything becomes very expensive. This is what typically happens. And all of us sitting in this room have witnessed this time without number. That is why heads of states came together and said, let us create a bank that can stand by member countries, especially in difficult moments during global economic downturn. So Afreximbank was created on the 8th of May, 1993 in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. The bank is created by treaty. And this treaty is also called the Establishment Agreement, which comprises the agreement and the charter. The agreement has 20 articles. It defines, and it's a public document. It's available on the website of Afreximbank. You can search it up and read. It establishes the bank as a multilateral development financial institution. The charter defines how the bank, the governance structure of the banks, and how the bank is run. Collectively, the agreement and the charter form what we collectively call the Establishment Agreement or the Treaty. Countries to become member states sign the Establishment Agreement or the Treaty. When they sign, they go through the parliamentary process to ratify, so that the president, the head of state, or the prime minister promulgates it into law and have it gazetted. As we mentioned, last year, Jamaica signed the Establishment Agreement or the Treaty in July, and Jamaica is in the process of going through the ratification through Parliament and promulgation so that it gets gazetted. Now, why is this ratification and promulgation into law very important? Because for every multilateral like Afreximbank, the bank is supposed to enjoy what we call a preferred creditor status. Preferred creditor status, like the World Bank, like the IMF, like the African Development Bank, like Afreximbank, allows you as a preferred lender, as a preferred creditor, that in the event of a wind-up, you are repaid first before any other entity. Preferred creditor treatment means that if you borrow from Afreximbank and you declare bankruptcy and you're now selling assets, liquidating your assets to repay your creditors, you have to pay Afreximbank first. That's what preferred creditor status means. So if you didn't know, I think now it is very clear. I try to break down in very simple language so that you understand it. Pardon my accent, but I try to speak slowly so that you understand what I'm saying. Okay? Now, preferred creditor treatment is how Afreximbank facilities are treated, which means if I am lending in the local market here in Jamaica, by the way, Afreximbank works with and through financial institutions because our mandate does not allow us to display the commercial banks. Rather, we complement what the commercial banks do. So all the transactions that we've identified during this period and those we identified before, we will work together with the local commercial banks to lend to those corporates. Even if when we're lending to the government, we work with the commercial banks. The commercial banks take what is commensurate to their single obligor limit, what is commensurate to their risk appetite, and Afreximbank brings the complementarity to be able to provide that holistic solution. So when you participate in a transaction with Afreximbank, you also benefit from that preferred creditor status. Afreximbank is also a diplomatic mission. We are tax exempt. That's why the ratification is important. Our transactions, our activities are not subject to any form of taxation in a member country, just like for every other multilateral financial institutions. This has to be clear. That's why we need the government to always provide an enabling environment so that the activities can thrive. Now the bank was set up with a mandate to promote, facilitate, and finance intra and extra-African trade. Intra-African trade means, simply put, trade among African countries. But in the real context of it, we say intra-African with an accent on the N, means trade among African countries and trade between Africa and the Caribbeans. That's the true definition, and that's why we're here today. So when we talk about intra-African trade, we actually mean trade within what we call global Africa. That means the Caribbeans or Jamaica trading with other Caribbean nations or trading with other African nations and even trading with the rest of the world, which is what we now call extra-African trade. The bank is headquartered in Cairo, Egypt, so our headquarters is there, and the headquarters also manages the North Africa Regional Office. The office in Harare, Zimbabwe, looks after 13 African countries, including South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, Malawi, Mauritius, Seychelles, and so on. 13 African countries. So we have regional offices. And that was the first regional office that was opened. The office in Abuja, Nigeria, covers Anglophone West Africa. And these comprise Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, the Gambia, Cape Verde, Sao Tome, and Principe. I have had the privilege to have led this regional office. It is the biggest regional office of Afreximbank, accounting for about 40 to 45% of the balance sheet and revenues of the bank. Of course, you know why. Because of the large economy, Nigeria. So I worked there as the regional chief in 2016 and 2017, went back to the headquarters, and I was sent back there again in 2021 to 2024, where by God's grace, I had the privilege to grow the revenues from $390 million US dollars to $1,248 million US dollars. Thank you. Thank you. I know it is coming from the heart. In Nigeria, our exposure averages between 10 billion US dollars to 12 billion US dollars. You saw Aliko Dangote in the video, right? The richest African. I had the privilege to structure some of those transactions. So I am saying, simple arithmetic, because I used to teach mathematics. If my exposure in Nigeria is about 10 billion US dollars, that's a lot of money. Just take 10% of that and pump into the Jamaican economy. We all know the impact. And then by the time we find more transactions and start growing and growing and growing, we will do more. If we did it in Nigeria, it means we can do it here in Jamaica. And that's why we're here today. Afreximbank also has a regional office for Francophone West Africa in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. I was explaining to people yesterday, you know, one of the things that when you are doing business, you have to be sensitive to the culture of the people. When you go to Abidjan or to Côte d'Ivoire, please call them Côte d'Ivoire. Don't say Ivory Coast. They don't like it. They prefer to keep their names in French. It's a secret. Make sure you don't tell them. Okay? I know we Anglophones, I come from the English-speaking part of Cameroon. We typically say Ivory Coast because we're born and bred in English and we study in English. But you have to be sensitive to culture, and so that they see you as a friend and welcome you and then open up to you and you can do business. We're here to integrate our continent. So the Abidjan office, regional office, manages 10 African countries, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Niger, Togo, Benin, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, Mauritania, and so on. The Central Africa Regional Office is in Yaoundé, Cameroon. It manages Cameroon, Chad, Central African Republic, Gabon, Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, and which one have I not mentioned? Equatorial Guinea. The East Africa Regional Office is in Kampala, Uganda. Manages Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Comoros. It's a very beautiful island. And of course, our regional office in Bridgetown, Barbados, manages the Caribbean region. And we call it Caribbean region, not just CARICOM, because we're looking to having countries like Brazil and Colombia to join Afreximbank. If anybody of African descent is not economically emancipated, nobody anywhere in the world who is of African descent will be respected. We've seen what the Chinese have done. So the drive in Afreximbank is to unite people of African descent and work together. That's why you left all your busy schedules to be here this morning. So that is the regional distribution of the bank. It is your bank. We're investment grade. You can see our ratings there. 54 African countries have signed and ratified the establishment agreement of the bank. 13 out of the 15 Caribbean countries have signed. And like I said, Jamaica is in the process of ratification. We hope that between 1 and 2 months, this process should be completed, so that it gives us that full latitude to be able to do transactions here freely. We are rated AAA by the Chinese rating agency. We raise money also in the Chinese market. We issued a panda bond. Of course, when you're raising money in the market, they use their rating. We also are rated BA2 by Moody's, A- by GCR, and A- by JCR, which is the Japanese rating agency, and A, the stable aloe, by GCR. GCR is a South African-based rating agency, but now that has been acquired by Moody's. So we intervene through 4 broad ways. We provide loans, short-term loans, medium-term loans, and long-term loans. So all kinds of loans that you can imagine, we provide them. We also provide a suite of guarantees, short-term guarantees, medium-term guarantees, and long-term guarantees. We also provide advisory and capital market. If Jamaica wants to issue a Eurobond, we have a battery of experts that can structure and take you to the market to raise the money on the Eurobond. I think the Honorable Minister is here. If we could rise and welcome her. Thank you so very much, Honorable Minister. Please, a round of applause for Madam. Thank you very much. It is only a family member that can stop whatever he or she is doing to join a family meeting. Honorable Minister, you're welcome. Our dear sister, we're so proud and happy that you are here. This is the story of our destiny that we want to build together. Thank you very much, and you're very much welcome. I was saying that Afreximbank intervene in 4 broad ways. We extend loans, or what you call credit facilities, short-term, medium to long-term. We also issue several suites of guarantees, short, medium to long-term guarantees. That means if an investor wants to invest in Jamaica and finds it risky, they can come to Afreximbank to guarantee their investment so that they can invest in Jamaica. Those are the kind of instruments we use, leveraging our investment grade. We can provide contract availability. It's a whole package. In fact, we have a full-fledged department called guarantees and specialized finance department responsible for that, with highly skilled experts. We provide advisory and capital market. And I was saying if Jamaica wants to raise local bonds or Euro bonds or whatever, advisory, structuring, we have a full-fledged advisory and capital market department that can handhold the country, the customers, the central bank, the Ministry of Finance, and every other entity that wants to access the facility of Afreximbank, benefiting from the advisory services. We also provide trade payment capabilities. These are the 4 broad ways through which we intervene. I've already highlighted the credit, risk-bearing, payment, and advisory. And you can see on the African map, the yellow shades indicate where we are physically present and where we have the regional offices. You will see the headquarters somewhere in Cairo in dark green, up. 54 out of 54 African countries are member states. Dark green, that's where Egypt is, that's the headquarters. Then you have Nigeria, you have Cameroon, you have Cote d'Ivoire, and then you have Harare, Zimbabwe, somewhere yellow down there, not so far from Madagascar. Please, print the African map and put it in your house. It's very easy to look at it every morning and be looking at where to go, and it's easy. And the reason why I'm telling you, let me go this way. I don't know whether this has a pointer so that I can, do I know how to use it? Okay, yeah, it's working. So I met, can you see the light on the screen? Or maybe I should go here. I met the Deputy Minister of Transport in Egypt, and President Al Fattah Sisi, the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, is pushing even the private sector companies to go out in the continent. And this is what he was explaining to me. He said what they have decided to do as a country is to make sure that they grow the trade with the entire Africa. This is Egypt. This is Cairo, is somewhere here. He said here is the Red Sea. This is the Red Sea. And up here is the Mediterranean Sea. The objective with what has happened with the Iran war, Eritrea is somewhere here. If you cross and go here, this is Saudi Arabia. So what they want to do is to build seaports from here down to here, where Egypt ends, and build seaports from here up to here. And then go now to the rest of the continent, build seaports here, all through here, down this way, and all of them. They have 10 to 20 companies that have the capabilities to go and acquire land, construct the seaport infrastructures there, and make sure they can export their things, they manufacture and sell there. This is just one country in Africa trying to do that. You can imagine what they are starting with East Africa. So they are starting with this region. All of it here. They will build. And when they were talking, the gentleman, the honorable minister was talking to me. He was telling me, Eric, can you come with us? We are going to Eritrea. We want to go and find land here so that we can build. Because of what has happened in the Middle East, it is their view that this will be cyclical. That means one day it will happen again. When it happens, when a war happens like that, those who are prepared for it take advantage and grow their economies. He said if they had additional storage facilities, once the Strait of Hormuz, which is somewhere around here, was closed, Egypt would have provided alternative storage facilities, and that would benefit the economy. So this is the way they are thinking. This is the way we have to start. That's why you must print the map and put it here and be looking at it every day and start seeing opportunities where you can start thinking of investing. This is, and President Sisi calls them every Monday to give an update to what the ministers have done. He follows it personally. In fact, he says to Afreximbank, Is there anybody stopping you from what you are doing? We say, no, sir, everything is fine. The conversation continues. He asked again the president, President, you have not started building your new headquarters. Is there anybody who is disturbing you? We say, no, sir, nobody is disturbing us. We carry on the conversation. He asked again the third time, please, if there's anybody disturbing you, tell me. I will send a general there, and then the problem will be solved. This is how committed and serious he is. And I think that's the spirit that all of us should have, integrating the entire continent. So, moving on very quickly, this is where we are. These are the Caribbean states. These are the 13. And we are privileged to have the Honorable Minister here with us. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for signing up to the establishment agreement last year in July. I know that in maximum about 2 months, the ratification process will be completed. But I can tell you, I'm pleased to announce that since yesterday, we'll be meeting and identifying some key transactions, which I told some of the customers, I will not mention names for confidentiality purposes, that while I will put pressure on my team to process, I will chase you even into the restroom to give me the information to make sure that the transaction is processed, because we have to sign them in July at the active. Jamaica is the biggest economy in the Caribbean region. We have to sign those facilities and disburse them so that they can begin to create those jobs in this market. This is your bank, and the bank has to stand by you. So thank you for cutting short your very busy schedule to be here. You don't know what it means to us. I mean, if my words are not enough, God is listening, and he will bless you. Thank you very much. So these are the member countries that we have. 13 out of 15, they are there. They have signed up, and we have started disbursing some facilities in some countries. We want to disburse here. We want to create jobs here. It's not working again? Okay. So Afreximbank operates, I hope I didn't go too fast. Okay, fine. Afreximbank operates on the basis of 5-year strategic plans. Every 5 years, the bank comes together, sits like this, work for a week, crafting a new strategy that will implement over 5 years. And currently, we are implementing our number 6 strategic plan. We call it Impact 2026, Extending the Frontiers. This plan is hinged on 4 pillars, but I will highlight only 3 here. The 4th pillar is internal to us, and the 4th pillar is financial sustainability. I will explain that at the end. Pillar number 1 is intra-African trade. Remember, I said intra-African with an accent on the end, which means trade between among African countries in Africa and the Caribbean. Intra-African trade and the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. That makes the market one big market, the largest free trade area agreement in the world, 1.5 billion people, $3.5 trillion US economy. It's a big market. And for that to happen, we need to enable we need to finance the trade enabling infrastructure, hard and soft. The hard infrastructure are the roads, the railways, the bridges. Those were financing through our project finance. But the soft infrastructures are also very important. And I will highlight a number of them. 1, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. It's a payment system that allows African countries to trade among themselves using their local currencies. There are 42 local currencies in Africa. 42. Now, these local currencies are not directly convertible to each other. For me to translate from CFA, France CFA, in Cameroon or in Gabon or whatever, to Naira, which is just next door in Nigeria, I need to translate to the USD or to euros, and then translate to the local currency, and then translate again. That increases costs of intra-African trade. Because I use my local currency, I first of all buy foreign currency. When you buy something, there's a price you pay, there's a cost you incur. And then I translate it to the local currency of the seller. I lose money. When you translate money, you lose money. And we have estimated that the cost of intra-African trade, just because of non-direct convertibility of the currencies, is about $5 billion every year. So with Pan-African payment and settlement system, it allows somebody in Cameroon to pay for something he or she is buying from Nigeria. That person pays in the local currency, CFA, and the seller receives the Nigerian Naira. Afreximbank and the central banks of both countries provide the clearing and settlement. Today, we have 17 central banks that have signed up to PAPS. Over 340 commercial banks have signed, and it's expanded. PAPS was piloted in Anglophone West Africa and is being expanded as a system of payment. So that if we want to buy things from Nairobi, from South Africa, from Tanzania, from Ethiopia, you pay in local currency and the seller receives in local currency. So that's one of the soft infrastructure. It was something that was conceived when the African Union was created in 1963, that there must be a Pan-African payment system. Afreximbank operationalized it by implementing, creating PAPS. Number two is the AFCFTA Adjustment Fund. AFCFTA, African Continental Free Trade Agreement, means that all African countries open up their borders. And if you produce in Cameroon, you can sell in Nigeria. If you produce in Kenya, you can sell in Ethiopia, one market. What does that mean? It means that the tariffs, the custom duties they collect, they are going to lose. That's a disincentive. If you open up borders and lose money, which you are making money to run the economy, you cannot just lose money without getting a replacement. That's why Afreximbank put in place an AFCFTA adjustment fund, 1 billion, which is being increased to $10 billion, so that those lost revenues from opening up borders can be replaced using this facility. That then incentivizes member countries to open up borders. That's one. So the AFCFTA adjustment fund is put in place by the Afreximbank to do that, to incentivize countries to open up their borders. 2 or 3, Afreximbank is a critical technical partner to the AFCFTA Secretariat. We have staff seconded there, working with the Secretary General in Accra, Ghana, to make sure some of the technical things are being done. Harmonization of standards. If you take example, the plugs, electricity plugs, if the sockets, if you want to connect your laptop here, you have to have the US type. If you go to Africa, you will go from country to country, the two will still be changing. So we have to harmonize standards. If somebody produces something in one country and needs to trade in the other one, there has to be harmonization of standards. So we found that we've harmonized standards in the textile industry, automotive industry, pharmaceutical industry. We are doing petroleum right now. So that products that are produced can be traded homogeneously across the continent. These are some of the soft infrastructure that we are putting in place. So if I don't explain to you, you will not know. You will just think, but the trade is not happening. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. Now, movement of goods from one country to the other. If you want to move goods from here to Barbados, to St. Kitts, to Guyana, you post custom bonds here. You go to the other country, you post custom bonds. You go to the other, you post. It's bureaucratic, it's time-consuming, and it's the same thing in the continent. So we initiated and deployed the collaborative transit guarantee scheme that allows one instrument, one transit bond to be issued, and that can allow goods to move from Cape Town. If I go back to the map of Africa, Cape Town is down there, and Cairo is up there. If you issue one instrument and you can move goods across, you can imagine how many countries you pass through. You imagine how much time it will save, the bureaucracy it will reduce, the cost it will reduce. These are initiatives that Afreximbank has launched, piloted in East Africa, and we are rolling out across the continent. Again, these are, if you go and read the minutes, and I encourage everyone to go and find the minutes of the first OAU meeting in 1963. All these things were listed there. This is what Afreximbank is now being operationalizing to make sure that the aspiration of our founding fathers can come to fruition. So these are some of the soft infrastructure that were put in place to facilitate the implementation of intra-African trade and the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. So here, we want to encourage trade among the Caribbean and the African countries, trade among African countries, trade within global Africa. That's pillar number one, and we made it our arrowhead. This plan has run from 2022 and is ending in 2026. As I speak to you, in this roadshow, we're going to be engaging with you. We'll take back your feedback, and we'll include it in the new strategic plan we are building now, which will start implementation from 2027 to 2031. Pillar number two is industrialization and export development. This is creation of industrial parks, special economic zones, local manufacturing, value-added export. We created industrial park in the wool sector in Gabon, in the textile sector in Benin, in Rwanda, in Togo, in Cote d'Ivoire, and we have 13 other African countries. We want to create industrial parks, special economic zone here in Jamaica, so that we start manufacturing what we consume, we start exporting what we add value. That is how we are going to create jobs. So our pillar number two closely supports our intra-African trade, because for us to trade among ourselves, we need to produce the goods that need to be traded. Otherwise, you'll be trading nothing. And that's why intra-African trade rate today is averaging around 17%, which is lowest. Intra-European trade is about 60, intra-Asian trade is about 70. Our own is very small because we don't produce locally. Pillar number three is leadership in global banking in Africa. The name doesn't say anything, but I will explain. Is the support we provide to the financial sector. We provide lines of credit to commercial banks because we know that we're a wholesale bank and we can lend to all the MSMEs. Remember, MSMEs account for at least 70% of the employment of our workforce. They need our support. So we provide lines of credit to banks, we provide short-term loans to banks, we provide medium-term loans to banks, we provide long-term loans to banks, we provide confirmation lines to banks, we capacitate the commercial banks so that they can complement what Afreximbank is doing. That is what we do under pillar number three. So, this is this strategic plan. And I can announce to you that if we look at the corporate objectives when we crafted this plan, where we are today, intra-African trade financing has been at least $40 billion on a revolving basis. When we started, it was zero. And this is what we're going to do in this country. You will see this picture. It lists the various products that we can extend here. Now, let me tell you what I always say. When you read, you will say Trade Ecosystem ATG, you read AFTRAF, AFPay, Structured Trade Finance Solutions, Supply Chain Finance Solutions, Short-Term Loans, Medium-Term Loan, Construction and Tourism Links Relay Facility, Control, Africa Quality Assurance Center, AMC, all the initiatives that we do. I tell you, when you look at it, you get confused. You cannot remember any name, right? Let me tell you the secret, what will make you remember. When you bring the transaction, we structure and we give you the money, you will remember the name. So don't memorize, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter how I call it. Whether I call it structured trade finance, that's me to find a solution and get you the credit approval and disburse the facility. It's not you to understand what it is. Only understand how to work with me so that we can develop a structure that can be approved. Don't worry. By the time the money is disbursed, you remember the name. That is the secret. That's how you study this kind of table. So I'm not going to bore you by going through all of this. It is my job. It's part of the reason why I lose my hair, because I need to keep structuring, finding solutions and things like that. Okay? So let me skip these ones. When we disburse the transaction, you remember some of them. By the way, this presentation will be made available today. Please make sure it is sent today. It's important, because usually when we travel back and the people start asking me, oh, presentation. If your email is not there, give it to Emin, please. Can you stand up so that they can see you? Emin and Natalie, please. These are the two people that will send you the presentation. They'll send it today. We cannot keep postponing our destiny again. We are not here to postpone anything. Anything we want to do it now, because we are late. In everything we are late. We are the last in everything. When we gained independence, we didn't go to school a lot. Now we have all gone to school. There's no reason why we should not progress. So we have to do everything now. Okay. Afreximbank is a group. These are some of the subsidiaries that we have. FEDA is Fund for Export Development in Africa. You know, in member countries, when we are lending, we realize that some of the customers that come for our facilities do not only need debt financing, they don't only need loans, they also need equity. And my mandate at Afreximbank doesn't allow me to take equity. I can only give loans. So we went to our board and got a special approval to set up an impact fund to promote export development in our countries. So FEDA is headquartered in Kigali, Rwanda. They can invest equity, minority stake in companies that need equity here in Jamaica. We will be asking the Honorable Minister to sign, because you need to sign up to it. It's a one-page document. I remember when I was in Nigeria, I went to see the Minister of Finance. I told him, sir, you know, you don't need to put money here. As a member state, you have already put money in FEDA. But for you to allow FEDA to invest equity, you need to sign that, you need to accede to the FEDA establishment agreement. He said, what is it? I show him. He said, this one page. He said, yes, sir. He said, go and call one officer, type it, brought it in front of him. He looked at it, sign. He said, okay, what else? I said, you need to put a seal. He put a seal. He said, is this all? I said, yes. From today, FEDA will start taking equity. That's all you need to do. You can now follow ratification later on, but FEDA will be able to. Because sometimes when we are lending, we realize that the customer does not only need loan, they also need equity. So Honorable Minister will be sending through the document so that you look at it. It's just a session. You don't need to put money. Becoming a member, we created FEDA on your behalf. This is part of your money. There's no financial obligation from the state. They just need to sign it up, and FEDA will start investing. So those SME, those entities that need equity, they can approach FEDA. They have their own risk acceptance criteria and investment guidelines, which they will review, and then they'll be able to invest. If you don't sign up, then you are shortchanging yourself, because this is a benefit that accrue to you being a member of Afreximbank. Okay? So FEDA does that. Africa Medical Center of Excellence is an initiative which we are building quaternary hospitals. We'll build the first one, and I had the privilege to have supervised the first ever AMC in Abuja, Nigeria, when I was the regional chief and head of mission there. We launched it last year. It's inaugurated. The first phase is 170 rooms. It's specialized in oncology, hematology, cardiology, and general medicine. It's a research center. It supports all the national hospitals across West Africa. And the next one is being considered for Tanzania, another one in Cameroon, and we can expand to countries like Jamaica and consider one of them. These are quaternary hospitals that we build to make sure they support the medical system of the country and the region. It will include, when they finish the one in Abuja, the full project, it will include a nursing school, it will include a medical school to train doctors, accommodation and lodging facilities. It's a high-end. It has a cyclotron. Cyclotron is something that was not, it's the first time we have a cyclotron in sub-Saharan Africa. We didn't have it. Is what you produce isotopes. Isotopes are used for the treatment of cancer. And isotopes have a lifespan of 4 hours. So if you produce it here, you have to use it here. So if you produce it in Europe and you want to bring, they will disintegrate. It will not be functional. So you produce and use immediately. That's why it has to be installed there. It costed us about $300 million to set up just the first phase, and we're expanding it. So this one is done by Afreximbank to support the medical system of the country and the region. So if the government is keen about it and wants this to be done, they can pursue it. Countries bid to be a host for the AMC. It's a subsidiary of Afreximbank owned through FEDA. Remember, FEDA can take equity, but Afreximbank cannot take equity directly. Canex Creation Incorporated is an initiative. Canex Creation and Canex Creation Incorporated is an initiative to support the creative industry, music, fashion, arts, culinary, and everything that has to do with the creative industry. And we know the Caribbean and Jamaica are very big in the creative. So we have initiatives around. Afreximbank is a wholly owned subsidiary, just like FEDA, of Afreximbank, that provides insurance advisory so that the right insurance is taken by the customers and they are transitioning into a risk carrier so they can actually take on some of the risks. So when we are doing transactions, sometimes we rely on insurance to mitigate the risk. You know, risk can be eliminated, reduced, or transferred. So this is a wholly owned subsidiary. It's headquartered in Mauritius. We have the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System that allows African countries to trade in local currencies. I talked about it. Africa Trade Exchange is a platform that allows suppliers and buyers to list the various products that they have so that they can look at it, and once they need financing, Afreximbank and the commercial banks will come in to finance. Africa Quality Assurance Center is another subsidiary that we're setting up to make sure our products that are produced locally are tested, inspected, and certified for exports globally. You know, for you to export food products to Japan, you need to be accredited and tested. So Africa Quality Assurance Center, ACAC, are those initiatives that will put in industrial parks so that what is manufactured locally is inspected, certified, and ready for export to other markets. You know, a lot of our products are rejected because they don't meet international standards. That's why ACAC is a complementary initiative. We fund it 100%, and we'll make sure that our producers have the possibility to test their products and ready for export. AfPay is a trade payment solution that we provide. It's just a branding name. Somebody wants to import things and you want to pay, you come to Afreximbank, we do the payment and so on. Okay? Trader Club has two components. Trade intelligence. If you want to expand to any country, I told you that you should put the African map and be looking at it. It's a platform that provides all what is produced on a country-by-country basis. All the trade information on a country-by-country basis. And then it has another sub-platform which provides all the trade regulations on a country-by-country basis. If you want to expand your business to another country, you need to know the information, you need to know the trade regulation before you engage to see. This will also facilitate trading under the African Continental Free Trade Area in the unified market. I'm trying to speed up. We have a lot of partners, the African Development Bank. These are various partners that we work with. I think you can read through these ones to see how we expand our business tentacles to support you with the creative solutions that you need to expand your business. The same thing, you have NextZ, we have JBIC, these are Japanese entities, JICA, and so on. EcoBank is just one of the several banks, all the commercial banks in Africa. In fact, we have a solution that allows all banks in Africa to be onboarded to. We realize that during challenges, during economic crisis, international banks start pulling out of the Caribbean. They start cutting limits. They start capping. They don't even want, they say we are too risky. So Afreximbank created the Afreximbank Trade Facilitation Facility, which we call AFTRA, to confirm letters of credit, to avalize promissory notes, to issue guarantees, to issue IRU, irrevocable reimbursement undertaking, and issue various instruments that will allow the various letters of credit to be confirmed or various trade instruments to be considered. And this is very handy and useful during difficult moments. So, EcoBank is present in 33 African countries. UBA, Access Bank, all of these banks, First Bank of Nigeria, the Standard Bank, all the South African banks, and as well as the commercial banks in Jamaica will also be onboarded on this platform to make sure these facilities are extended to them. Remember, Afreximbank does not compete with commercial banks. Afreximbank complements what commercial banks do. I cannot lend to the government or to a corporate without working with a local bank or local banks. We are here to complement what they do. And this has to be well understood. One of the things I was telling some of the banks that I made yesterday, I said, see, the thing I will encourage you to do, when you take a big transaction, the government comes to you and says, listen, I want you to finance this project. We do trade and trade enabling. We do seaports, we do airports, we do trade roads. If a road is linking to an industrial park or is linking to a market, that's a trade enabling infrastructure. We finance that. Don't turn down those kind of transactions. Bring them to us. Take them, and when you bring us in, we structure it. You take what is commensurate to your risk appetite, and we will take the data. My single obligor limit is $1.6 billion US. I can give one customer that amount of money. The Dangote refinery, which is the biggest single train refinery, is part of the reason why I lost a lot of my hair, Madam Minister, because I was not sleeping. Structuring the deals and so on, we've disbursed over $10 billion US over the years to Aliko Dangote. And that's why today, Aliko is exporting fertilizer to the US, to Brazil, to Colombia, Latin America. It's exporting jet fuel to the UK, Germany, everywhere, because of the Iran crisis. Who would have imagined that an African will be saving the world during a difficult moment? We are always the one taking shocks. This is what Afreximbank do. And I had the privilege to have led this transaction, not sleeping in the night to create this solution. If I've done it in Nigeria, I can do it here. And let's just work together. Tomorrow is now. Tomorrow is not tomorrow. It is now. It's here, and it is in this room. That's what I'm saying. So those are some of the partners, again, as I was talking about. I've already talked about PAPS, Mansa. Mansa is we named it after the third Mansa. We named it after Mansa Musa, who took a lot of gold from Mali to Saudi Arabia and went and displayed. The richest man that ever lived on earth, Mansa Musa. It's just a KYC platform that allows all our entities to be onboarded on that KYC platform according to international standards. You know, people don't like to do business with us, the Caribbean, Africa, that we are risky. We are, compliance issue, this and that. So we created a platform, funded it 100%, so that all the SMEs, the commercial banks, the corporates, the state-owned entities can onboard their KYC information there and they are cleared. And then people can feel comfortable to do business with them. Because Mansa Musa made Africa known through trade, that's why we named this platform after him. That's Afreximbank, I talked about it. AFCFTA Adjustment Fund, I talked about it already. FEDA, I talked about it. AMC, African Medical Center of Excellence, I already talked about it. Collaborative Transit Guarantee Scheme, I talked about it already. So this is just for your listening, reading pleasure. Now, IATF, one of the aspirations in the first minutes of the Organization for African Unity in 1963 was that we should create a trade fair. And in 2018, Afreximbank operationalized the first ever intra-African trade fair in Cairo, Egypt, where we have over 25,000 people attended. The last one, which was the 4th edition, happened in Algeria in 2025. Over 36,000 people attended. It's the biggest platform that brings all Africa, and the Caribbeans were heavily represented. It's a platform to come and showcase what we have in each of our countries and twin, meet, create investment opportunities. Inter-African Trade Fair, Madam Minister, it costs us on every occasion. We organize it every 2 years. It costs us $70 million US to organize this. We don't make money out of it, but we're doing it for our continent so that our member countries to come and showcase what they have. The tourism opportunities in this country, the mining, bauxite opportunities in the country, the creative industry opportunities in this country. Through this, we can do investment promotion. We can even organize standalone investment promotion for this country to come with some of the investors which are our customers. We encourage them to come and invest here, and we will fund them so that they will invest here, create jobs here, and hire our local people here. These are the things that we can do. That's why I say this is your bank. Intra-African Trade Fair, the next one is in November 2027. It occurs every 2 years. In where? Who can guess where it is? Lagos, Nigeria. So those who want to go, please, we need to start preparing for it now. We need exhibitors to go and showcase what they have. Don't stay up here and be praying and say, God will help me. No. You start by leaving the house. On the road, you find help. If you stay at home, help will not come. Intra-African Trade is a marketplace to showcase what you can do as an exhibitor, to look for new markets to invest, to look for attract investment into the country. So we invite all of us here. Harvard, we remember during COVID, when Africa and the Caribbean could not get vaccine, Afreximbank issued a guarantee of $2 billion in favor of Johnson & Johnson. That's how our initiative and intervention in the Caribbean started. We turn out and say, yes, the AU declared the Caribbean as the seed region of Africa, but we have to do something concrete to support. There was vaccine nationalism. We could not buy vaccine. Imagine a small country, Equatorial Guinea, negotiating vaccine with the giants, with US, America, and the rest. So we came together as one continent, Africa and the Caribbean. And Afreximbank guaranteed Johnson & Johnson by issuing a guarantee of $2 billion that we will pay you, supply vaccine to our people. That's how the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that you use came into the region, here in the Caribbean and in Africa. This is why the bank was created, being able to stand for the people. And we think that that initiative opened our eyes, and that's why we moved to open the regional office here, and that's why we're here today. I talked about Africa Quality Assurance Centers. Now I've explained a lot of products. The table that I show you with so many names, I don't want to bore you with this. These are tailor-made offerings. Let me just explain something about all of these products. You know, 14 years ago, I was vice president in Citibank. And I thought, you know, Citibank is an American bank. They teach you a lot, they train you a lot, you're very good. You're vice president, you're very well paid, you're comfortable, you're doing deals, close this one, you get a big bonus and so on. Until I had a calling to join Afreximbank. When I came, I learned something. And this is what we call structured trade finance. When you go to a bank, they tell you, bring collaterals. What collateral do you have? What guarantee? And so on and so forth. I learned something which I want to explain to you with all of these products. I will not go through one by each. It's called structured trade finance. It's a financing technique that allows you to develop a financing structure, identifying the risk, and moving the risk from parties that are less able to bear the risk to parties that are more able to bear the risk. And I'll give you a practical example. Miriam Fruaha, my colleague, let's say she has a company, and Frederick Seidu or Emin has another company. I want to say Emin because she's from the Caribbean, she's very rich, so she can pay. She's a Nestle. They call it Nestle, but it's a French, they come from the French part of Switzerland, so it's Nestle. You have to pronounce it in the way it is. She's a Nestle, and Fruaha is a supplier to Nestle. Fruaha is posting losses because she's an SME. I'm not saying you're poor, I just say you're posting losses, but you're still doing business. Okay? I'm demonstrating the use of structured trade finance. Fruaha has a 5-year contract to supply Nestle, Emin, right? Nestle financial standing is very satisfactory. So, when you look at it from a commercial bank perspective, you say, oh, I cannot lend to Fruaha because she's posting losses. Her financial performance is not satisfactory. That's what they typically tell you every day, right? They say collateral. They say bring your house, bring your grandmother, the date of your great-grandfather, and so on and so on. They ask all those questions. But what we can do, we can say, okay, you have a contract. That means that Nestle is satisfied with your performance. That means the risk that rests with Fruaha is performance risk. So long as Fruaha delivers, then Nestle can pay. That means that the payment risk is not really with Fruaha. The payment risk is with Nestle. So I structure a deal to say, okay, can you open an account in my books? Yes, Fruaha say yes. Can Nestle agree to pay me all your invoices into your account in my books? Say yes. Can you acknowledge this payment undertaking that you will pay everything that Fruaha supplies, you will pay into this account? Yes. Now, it now means that I've externalized the payment risk from Fruaha to Nestle. Because once Fruaha delivers, then Nestle will pay. So the payment risk rests with Nestle, while the risk that rests with Fruaha is what? Performance risk. Are they able to perform and deliver? Once they have performed and delivered, there's no more risk. So I can structure a self-liquidating trade finance facility on that basis. And I'll be able to lend to a loss-making entity. This is what I've learned over the years. So whatever name, like I say, that you see there, don't worry about it. Let's sit down. We will craft the structure together. We will exchange. You will tell me your reality. Remember, the banker never knows your business more than you. You know the business more than the banker. When you speak to me, I'm the head of business for Afreximbank, for Africa and the Caribbean. When you speak to me, you are empowering me so that when I go to my credit committee, I am defending your transaction. I'm speaking on your behalf. So it is your responsibility to empower me, give me the ammunition, give me the tools, so now when I go, I can defend the transaction and obtain you credit approval with document and with disburse. So it is your objective to educate me. Let me understand your business, the way you run it, and tell me the reality. Then we can craft a structure around it. The basic thing that every banker, for those who are bankers, if you didn't know, now listen to this very carefully. You must understand the transaction. If you don't understand it, you cannot structure. I've done it for 25 years. It is not 25 months. It's not 25 weeks. This is the only way you structure deals and craft a solution that can work for the customer. Even if you don't know how to speak like me, the day you disburse a loan that works for a customer, they will never forget you. They will remember you for the rest. They will pray for you, in fact. They will pray for you for the rest of their lives because you solved their problem. So the solutions are a two-way traffic. You, the customer, you must empower me to understand it, to understand the local regulation, to understand what is achievable. We must not breach the regulation. Afreximbank is a policy institution. We must align with the government all the time. We must not breach the regulation. We must understand. So it is your role to educate me and the team to understand so that we can provide you the solution. I'm laying this emphasis because it's important so that you go away. Does it mean there will not be challenges in structuring? There will be. But when there's a will, there is a way. We work together and we craft the solutions and we'll be able to find them. So don't mind memorizing. Read them to understand them. But by the time you bring the request, we'll look at it. I'm just trying to highlight a few things of, these are different specialized transactions to SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, and so on, which we'll provide to them tailor-made, bespoke structuring solution that can help them. We also provide, we have identified a few names here, Madam Minister, who will be intra-regional champions. We call them intra-champs. We want to integrate the whole region and the region with the continent by financing people that go and do business across the region. We provide global facilities. But we also realize that, Honorable Minister, that there are some projects that are so useful to the country, but they cannot be done. The reason because the right market and feasibility studies have not been conducted. For those projects to be done, we need a solution which we call project preparation facility. These are small facilities between $1 million to about $3 million that allow the project owner to take this facility and conduct the right market and feasibility study of that very important project and bring the project to bankability before the actual project finance will come. And they work with Afreximbank. We have a specialized project preparation department headed by a director and team that we do that. Because we know our problem. That's why we're thinking every day and adding new ways of doing things. When we now do the right study, the project is brought to bankability. Afreximbank comes in and brings other lenders. We are number one in syndication in the whole continent. For the past 6 years, we're leading syndication. We do transactions. I've done 3.3 billion, one transaction. I've done 2.5. Not so long ago, was it on the 23rd of March, we disbursed 2.5 billion to Aliko Dangote. So we can do big transactions. But if it's a project, the right study has to be done so that we size it properly. We then bring the project to bankability, and then we can bring in Afreximbank and other lenders, local banks and the rest, and we'll be able to perform, execute the project. We've received several awards. The last one, I was at the last week, I was at the African Development Bank annual meetings, and we awarded DFI of the year. We have been the DFI is Development Financial Institution of the year 2025-2026. We received so many awards. President Orama, Professor Benedict Orama, has been Forbes Person of the Year. You've been, President George has also been identified. The bank has been the leading MLA on the continent for at least 5, 6, 7 years. So awards are not what we're looking for. We're looking for economic emancipation of our people. We're looking for supporting our economic growth. We're looking for supporting our governments so that they can implement the plans that they promised the voters that they were going to implement. Afreximbank stands by the government of Jamaica. And that's why the Honorable Minister has to disrupt everything at very short notice to be here. If you scan this, you get all the brochures. And it's left for me to say, thank you very much for listening to me. Sorry, let me just introduce the team so that you know. I normally do that at the beginning of the presentation, but the passion is too much, so I forgot. Apologies. So I will call the head of business for the Caribbean region, who is also the country manager for Jamaica, Ms. or Mrs. Emin Francis. Please, if you can come to stage, please. Her sister. You know, we can't come home. They say charity begins at home. We can't come to Jamaica without coming with somebody who is from Jamaica. Natalie is a manager in our treasury for local resource mobilization here in the Caribbean. Please put a hand together for her. She is one of your finest that you've exported to Afreximbank as ambassador of Jamaica, and we came back with her here at home to make sure that we think together and find solutions. Now, I came with somebody who is very special and should be very dear to your heart from today. Two people, actually. All the structuring, all the creative thinking, all the analysis to make sure that the transaction is well presented for it to obtain the credit approval, prepare for disbursement, is done by our credit analyst who is here with us. Rana, please put your hands together for her. She is here. She looks very calm, but very, very intelligent. She's the one that has been managing all the transactions since we expanded to the Caribbean from the credit perspective. And that's why she's here in person, to understand and get to interact with you and make sure that when she's writing and analyzing, she's seeing the same picture in this room. Thank you, Rana, for coming. Rana is in the credit department, which is the middle office. The origination person, who is the product specialist, is Frederick Seidu. He is a senior manager in our intra-African trade trade and investment and corporate finance department, through which we expand to the Caribbean. This is the person that is structuring all the deals. When it goes through first level of approval, it's thanks to him, working with the relationship teams here, and then it passes on to Rana. The Rana will further analyze it and present it to the credit committee. So you have the whole firing squad here, ready to take the transaction. Last but not the least, the person who amplifies what we do at regional offices, what we do here in the Caribbean, is none other than Miriam Furaha Kaba. She's a regional manager communication expert, and she's been our humble MC today. We thank you all for your kind support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, GMD, as we like to call Mr. Intong. Like I mentioned earlier, I find it hard to speak after him. I mean, how can I keep up? How can I compete? But it's all good. So we were honored to have the Honorable Minister come on such short notice, dropping everything that she had scheduled for the day to be here with us. We're very honored, and this, we don't take it lightly, Honorable Minister. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me put your hands together warmly, heavily, to welcome Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and Public Service of Jamaica. I think we can do better than that, please.
Good morning, everyone. We're still there, right? We're still in the morning hours. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that presentation. I was enlightened about Africa Exim Bank, and I'm sure if you walked in here this morning without any knowledge of who this institution is or what it does, I am sure, absolutely sure, you're walking away chock full of information. Let us give the group managing director, Mr. Intong, who did the presentation, just a rousing round of applause for such an excellent presentation. So let me acknowledge again the group managing director and the team that he introduced, colleague ministers, heads of agencies from across government, private sector entities, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you'll excuse me if I acknowledge my husband who's sitting over there as well, Mr. Leo Williams. I see the head of DBJ here as well. Good, awesome. So, distinguished guests, colleagues, and partners, it's a privilege to stand before you and to speak about an institution that, in listening to them, I am sure they will say that they have been quietly and consistently gone about building and becoming a consequential financial force on the African continent. And here they are expanding into the Caribbean area. As a government, we interacted with Africa Exim Bank in the early days of COVID, and the group managing director mentioned that in terms of the vaccines. And I know we still have some unfinished business that we will settle. We thank you for the partnership then and for just the continued relationship that we can see has been strengthened across the region. We understand that for over 3 decades, the Africa Exim Bank has been delivering financing solutions that support trade, boost economic expansion across the continent. We also understand that Africa Exim Bank's reach does not stop at the African shores. It has established itself in the Caribbean, and I know you're headquartered in Barbados, but Jamaica is only a short distance away. Everyone here knows that we are a region bound to Africa by history, culture, and increasingly recognized economic destiny. There is potential in exports between Africa and the Caribbean. I understand that Africa Exim Bank recently had similar engagements in other Caribbean countries. And I want to say to the bank, there are many projects here in Jamaica, especially as we embark on the massive recovery and resilience building that must happen in areas such as electricity, water, roads, ports, housing, building communities, government buildings, and the list goes on. Those of us who live in Jamaica know that the Prime Minister spent a lot of time putting together an entity called NARA, National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority. Just only recently, the CEO was announced for that entity. There are many projects that are lined up that will require financing from private sector entities, not just here in Jamaica, but across the region and from other countries as well. And in the days ahead, you will be hearing what these projects are. I mentioned the areas in which the large ones are, but there are other things to be done. What I find noteworthy about Africa Exim Bank, and I don't think they mentioned it this morning, but that it is a rated entity. It has a credit rating. It has a credit rating with Japan Credit Rating Agency, long-term issuer rating, A-, outlook stable. They've issued bonds, those are rated A-. They also have a rating with Moody's. And even though I know there was a recent rating change, but Moody's is an international rating agency, and that's important to know. And the outlook for the entity is stable, and I believe your rating right now is Ba2, which is investment grade rating. So that is important for us. It speaks to the strength of your credit rating. We would invite you, Mr. Group President, to also consider getting a rating from our regional credit rating agency, Caracas. That's trying, yes, I heard an applause here from Caracas. It would certainly help us to understand more about the entity, and so we welcome that. Again, going back to what I said earlier on about the bond that we have with Africa, only yesterday, I was at a gathering of integrity commissioners They're having a 4-day meeting in Jamaica, and a presentation, a dance presentation was done by a student. And believe it or not, the tagline all through the presentation, it was about "I'm an African." And so within this part of the world, you know that there's a strong identity. And so we welcome you. We welcome your presence here today in Jamaica. We welcome your presence in the Caribbean. And I know that based on the array of services that you highlighted, that there will be much to do. You talked about providing guarantee solutions, equity investments, trade financing, freight and logistics, export development. These are all things that we need here in our region, certainly in Jamaica. So my speech today will not be long because you gave just a full presentation about the entity. But let me say that we want to thank you for the 600,000 USD grant that you gave us during Melissa. It was greatly appreciated. And I know that your president met our prime minister recently at a CARICOM meeting. So the bond is there. It started a few years ago, and I know that it is getting stronger. And I would implore all of you who are here this morning, private sector entities, persons, institutions, to get to know Africa Exim Bank more. The last thing the presenter said today, just before I came up here, was that it's important to understand the businesses in which, that you're trying to get financing for, to understand them deeply and to see how you can structure deals for those entities. So I would expect that in the weeks, months, and years ahead, that there will be developed very close working relationship between Jamaica and Africa Exim and the businesses that are here in Jamaica, and that we'll begin to see the two-way trade between our country and other African countries, because I know that there's a lot that can be done both ways, from there to here and from Jamaica to there. So ladies and gentlemen, I know you've had a full morning so far. I want to wish you all the best for the remainder of the sessions. And again, welcome. We really, really appreciate the relationship we've had so far and looking forward to deepening that relationship. Thank you.
Can I ask Mr. Eric to just join the minister at the front for a photo session? Just here. Sir, could you please move in? Check. Can I please ask the ambassador to join them? Ambassador Reed, could you please join them? And Barbara, Miss Barbara, please join them. Yes. Afreximbank team, please get ready. Afreximbank team, please. All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We will move on, we'll continue with our program. So after hearing or listening from Mr. Eric Kintong, typically we open up the floor for questions and answer, as he had requested you to charge your notebooks. I imagine there are quite a number of questions that you'd have for the team from Afreximbank. So this is the time. This is the time. If you have a question, just put your hand up and we will direct you to a microphone near you. Questions? Any questions? Okay, I see a number of hands up. So Afreximbank team members, please just take note of the questions and then I'll come to you for the answers, for the hard answers. Sorry.
I'll start.
Okay, please go ahead.
First, I want to tell you how excited I am for Afreximbank finally to be here. I've been charting their entrance into the region for the last 2 years. So I'm very pleased that we are at this point, that they are here. And given the $5 billion line of credit that could become available to Jamaica. The question I wanted to ask, having a particular interest in export development, tourism, and specifically in SME funding, I would love if someone could kind of expound just a little bit more on those particular areas, what projects have been done in the tourism sector and in the trading sector, and of course, what potential lines of credit are available to small and medium enterprises. Because there is already registered huge interest in this line from that particular sector.
Okay, thank you. So indeed, we do support SMEs, and as Eric mentioned, we have a full SME department that is being established with a director to support SMEs. Our SME solutions are through intermediated financial services, meaning that we work through and with commercial banks. So just this morning, I was having a discussion with a gentleman here. I think he's from the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, and he told me our focus is purely SMEs. And I told him, so what do you do for SMEs? He says, capacity building, technical capacity building, market access. And I said, that's very good. This is precisely what our SME department does, providing technical support, capacity building, market access, training, but more importantly, financing as well, which he says they don't provide. So I was just explaining and discussing with him, this could be an opportunity to partner each other. You could provide the technical capacity building, you could provide the training. We will come in, provide you with market access to the rest of Africa for export. We could then also complement with the financing. So this is how essentially we intermediate in the market. And so for commercial banks that are here, we're happy and willing to work with you. Indeed, as we speak today, we met a client yesterday. We're discussing a 20 million facility that is targeted at on-lending to SMEs. Of course, because we're still in the process, there's still some confidentiality. I cannot start mentioning names. However, we would be probably next month, we will be able to give you a bit more detail on the client so you could directly approach them and access financing. So indeed in Jamaica today, we have a live transaction, a live client that we're working on providing $20 million to on-lend into SMEs. We would also be engaging with the Jamaica Development Corporation as well to explore areas of business cooperation with them. And for any other FIs that are here, we are happy, available, ready to work with you in providing financing and the other technical or non-financing support that you need to on-lend to your SMEs. So we're very much ready for it. And that is one side of it. We also do provide direct financing to SMEs in two other ways. One of it is through factoring, which most of you may be aware of. And factoring is a tool that enables you, SMEs, to sell on or pass on your receivables to a factor so you can continue to do your business. So factoring, again, is another important instrument that we have deployed successfully on the African continent. We've offered $200 million on the continent. Recently, last year in Bahamas, we did another $150 million in factoring transactions in Bahamas. This is something we think, again, we can promote. We are also discussing with another client here in Jamaica that wants to do factoring in Bahamas. They're looking for another $35 million to do factoring in Bahamas. This is targeted at SMEs, those that do the small deliveries, those that do the small road markings, but who cannot wait for 6 months for a government payment or a cruise ship to pay them. That's we're happy to support as well. And working with companies that want to do factoring. We want to have as many companies, and we can provide them lines of credit that they can then use to support these SMEs that have receivables. So that is on factoring. We also do offer supply chain financing. We have a whole platform where we onboard the big corporates, and then we onboard their suppliers as well. So that just gives us an opportunity through one anchor buyer to reach about 1,000 suppliers and over 1,000 SMEs. So again, we have that platform working with you as financial institutions. You would have to be onboarded onto that platform because we cannot provide local currency, and most of these will be in local currency. We can provide you those guarantees that will enable you to then do the financing in your local currency. So again, another opportunity or another touch point to support SME financing. Thank you. Yeah.
There you go.
Again, thanks very, very much to Afreximbank for this excellent presentation. And finally, we see some movement with respect to Africa and the Caribbean coming together. And we need to ensure that this keeps growing and expanding, right? I remember, and that's where my question is, a couple of years ago, it's probably over a decade, trying to work on distribution of products into South Africa and into other countries. And there were some tariff constraints and barriers. So the free movement of goods that were taking place within Africa, that was not open to, like, our Caribbean countries. Has that been addressed?
So the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, as we have it today, is for the 54 African countries that have signed up. And that, so yes, there's guided trade on the continent today when it comes to movement of goods. There's still work to be done on people and stuff. But today, they've started guided trade on goods. I know a couple of some other countries are yet to ratify, but I think as we speak, out of the 54 African countries, about 44 have signed and ratified. And so yes, today, there are no tariffs across the borders on the free movement of goods between those 44 African countries. But we then have one common external tariff against the rest of the world. This is what we have today. Because instead of you having to deal with South Africa with one tariff, you go to Ghana, it's a different tariff. You go to Nigeria, it's a different tariff. What the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement has done is to give you one single unified touch point. So once you're able to negotiate, and of course I'm sure CARICOM is discussing with the AU about how to tap into it. I don't think that has been concluded yet. But at least it gives you that certainty, it gives you that ease. All you need to do is to understand you are dealing with one common tariff within an area, and then you can accede into it. Mm-hmm. Yes, but as we speak, I'm not aware of any CARICOM country that has signed up to it. I'm not aware of any. Yes, you have to accede, yes. So that's what I'm saying. Even in Africa, not everyone has acceded as yet. So the countries have to accede to it to be a part of that, yes.
A question over here?
Hi, thank you. I'm Karima Munse. I have a manufacturing plant. I export and import, and we welcome this initiative because we're looking forward to going on a mission to Africa. However, I'd like to know one thing. What's the medium of exchange that we'll use if we are trading with the Afreximbank? So what's the medium?
Come again. I have two
questions. What's the medium of exchange? How would we pay if we are doing trade? Will we be using US dollars? Will we be trading in African dollars? I have another question. I'm from the Muslim community, and we've been unbanked for over 50 years because we don't have Sharia-compliant loans. It's difficult for us to get investment that is not interest-based, and that's compound interest-based. We want to know if you'll be having Sharia-based products available.
Okay. So on your first question, today, as we speak, our primary lending instrument or primary lending currency is either the USD or the dollar. In countries where we have volume, like in Nigeria or in South Africa, we do local currency interventions as well. So it means we raise funding on the local market to intermediate locally in the market. That is what we currently would do. But in countries where we don't have the mass, or it's not economically cost competitive to deal in USD liquidity, what we then do is to offer guarantees. So to your local bank, for example. So we are taking your risk, but we're not providing you liquidity. We're just issuing a guarantee, still assuming the risk, just asking your bank, give them this amount of money in local currency. If they don't pay, come to us. So that is what we also still do to get around this issue of liquidity, USD liquidity, to enable us lend in local currency. So we do that. When it comes to settlements across borders, as Eric mentioned, we do have the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System that is increasingly being adopted by lots of the commercial banks and the central banks to enable countries' cross-border trade to be settled in your local currencies. I know there's a scheme going on to do same in the CARICOM. Actually, it's also called the CARICOM Payment and Settlement System, so to ensure that various CARICOM countries can settle transactions in their various local currencies. I know there's hopefully by end of this year there should be a pilot in the CARICOM to get that going. So indeed various ways to ensure that we can settle transactions in local currencies, or we can use our various local currencies as the settlement currencies. On Sharia compliant financing, I do know there are discussions that are ongoing. Today, as we speak, I haven't done any Sharia compliant transactions as yet, but I know indeed there's that thinking that we need to begin to create specialized Sharia compliant products that we use. In dealing with the Islamic Development Bank and other banks who are part of our lending syndicates, yes, we do have some forms of Sharia compliant products, but then these are not customer facing. These are rather what we get from them or we enter into with them. Now is getting those Sharia compliant products to the market and facing our customers that require these specific products. So I guess this is something that we still, is works in the progress as far as I know. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Stephanie, and I'm the CEO of Innovate Venture Labs, which is a venture studio where we are incubating, accelerating, and sustaining 10 million businesses over the next 10 years to create $1 billion in transactions. My question is, we were just facilitating a $20 million Zurich bond to create $1 billion fund, and I'd rather do that business with Afreximbank. So I'm definitely interested in having that conversation. I have 20 businesses here in Jamaica where we've already underwritten and structured their business plans. We're ready to go to market. They just need funding. I have 5 entrepreneurs. I have Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Senegal, and Kenya as well. This is just private sector. I escaped the US and decided I would come here after creating $1 billion of value there and bring that same expertise and team here to Jamaica. So I'm ready to execute. I would rather redirect that money we were raising through Zurich to this institution, as well as we need payment processing for our marketplace. So how can we take these efforts with ready-to-go business plans to the next step? That is my question.
No, thank you. Let me not be the doctor that will diagnose you before first doing some lab tests. So let's have that discussion. Let's understand what it is that you have on the table, and then we'll find a solution. We call ourselves a financial supermarket, meaning that if you walk in, chances are you would get what you want. So let's have that discussion. We're here from close of this program till the end of the day. Let's have that one-on-one. You can share some additional information, and then we'll engage further. All right, thank you.
Oh, yes. Hi, I'm Shawani Garzong. Yes, I was looking at the Creative Africa Nexus, the CANEX, and I'm seeing under the Music Development Finance Facility that the applicants are African. Are you opening that up to the Caribbean or will be?
No, it's absolutely open for every member state of the bank. So yes, Jamaica, now that it has signed up, you're free to get in touch with us. You're free to request any financing under our CANEX programs, and we're happy to support you. As Eric mentioned, we support various verticals, about 8 in all. We do sports, we do music, we do film financing, we do arts and craft, fashion and design, culinary arts, so literature. So yes, any of these verticals for which you have a financing need, you could approach us. We would engage and see what is the best solution. It could be debt financing, and if it meets the direct lending criteria under debt financing, we would pursue it as debt financing. There are also options, as he mentioned, to do it as equity or even under venture capital. And so under our Canex Creations Incorporated, they would review it and see how we could probably invest as equity holders in that enterprise on the equity side if it doesn't qualify for debt or it needs a mixture of both. So let's have some discussions. Let's see what you have, and then we will take it forward from here.
As we know, agriculture is the foundation of every developed country. And one of the reasons why I came back from Canada back to Jamaica. Yet there are some challenges with that when you come in the banking industry. And if we just look at size-wise, if I'm just going to do a little comparison, the Netherlands, for example, has 18 million people. Yet their sales just in agriculture alone exported 151 billion US dollars. So if we were to actually do a split for Jamaica being 3 million, technically Jamaica should be selling $25 billion in export in agriculture. Yet we overall have only exported $78 million. That being said, one of the challenges that I did find here is the large-scale ability, like we have, for example, in Canada, when we come to greenhouses and high technology agriculture, and that the risk factor, which is how the banks look at that, compared to, for example, countries like Canada, Mexico. I was at the Mexican Senate in 2023 over an agriculture discussion. I give the lead up because I want to find out that, that being said, how does Afreximbank look at the investment into large-scale, high-tech agriculture compared to where we are today in Jamaica? We have 250,000, I believe, farmers, but on average is 1-2 acres per farm. While we're trying to look at larger situations, how does a bank look at that on the risk assessment, especially when we have the insurance policies and all these various things? Is there a more favorable stand when dealing with high-tech agriculture compared to low-tech or small-scale projects?
No, okay, thank you. So we have various, or we can support agriculture at various levels. So one of the main ways, and for the smallholder farmers, one of the main ways of intervention is through our export trading strategy. So essentially, under this program, we target large corporates that develop a value chain in agricultural aggregation, for example. So if we can identify those large companies who become the aggregators, it is those large companies we will provide financing support to who go backwards and then create a pool of smallholder farmer schemes through contract agriculture and others, because they know you, they know the structures, they aggregate. And so we offer financing to companies such as these, export trading companies, to then on-lend to you either seed funding, equipments, and then offtake the product at the end of the day. So again, as Eric mentioned, it's a structured way of supporting you, but through an export trading company that already has the capacity, that already has the financial capacity to access financing. And of course, higher volumes, and then they can give it to 500 farmers, 1,000 farmers. That is how we try to create a value chain and to support the smallholder farmers. For large enough farming companies, you can access those directly, either at a corporate level, meaning you already exist, you already are into agribusiness. Of course, not just exporting of the raw perishable commodities, but we expect some value addition. And so, yes, you are able to access it directly. It could also be on a project finance basis. But then again, it goes through that process of certification, ensuring that you have the right technology, you have the right operations and management for the facility, you have the right markets, and so everything else must be lined up on that project finance scale for it to make commercially viable. So yes, we can look at it on a corporate finance basis, we can look at it on a project finance basis, but as well also looking at it or working through the export trading company schemes, or even contract agriculture. You may have just some large companies that can give you a contract to produce X amount of goods for them. And so yes, with that contract from a large off-taker that we know in the market that is credible, that is strong, based on that contract, you still can be provided some financing to execute the contract that you have just won.
America. And so, sorry, this is the case where we do have the largest buyer. We have a 7-year offtake agreement with the largest buyer in North America for organic products, but we still were having difficulties here in Jamaica dealing with, despite the fact that we have these contracts.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's have that bilateral, see the contract, see what is really the challenge that we need to the portal, and then we can take it forward. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, by the way, to the Africa Afreximbank for introducing the roadshow, because it's very difficult to do business and not have someone face to face. So now that you guys are here, maintaining the relationship by actually being present in the Caribbean, this is much better for everyone. My question though is, would the African Afreximbank be able to help us leverage international partnerships, like, for example, the CDB or the IDB? I think the lady earlier mentioned the Islamic Development Bank being one particular area that she might be interested in. So would this be something that we can also leverage, is my question. I see that you have a lot of partnerships, so whatever the services and the products that they offer, would that be available to us?
No, indeed. Yes, thank you. Yes, these are all our partners, and as we grow in the market, we are actually developing new partnerships in this market. But I can tell you, as we speak, we are engaging with CAF on some financing projects in the Bahamas and other countries. So that partnership is ongoing with CAF. The IDB meetings are ongoing as we speak again in the Bahamas. We have a couple of our colleagues that are already there engaging with the IDB, trying to CDB, trying to engage with them and grow the partnership network. So yes, indeed, we are conscious of the need to work with local multilateral development institutions and regional banks in the Caribbean as well. And we are consciously developing those strategic networks. Thank you. Okay, I'm told it's time to do a quick.
So for those who still have questions, we're still here. I'm so sorry, you'll have to indulge us because time is not on our side. Armin is still here, and Natalie. So please do come see them. Schedule meetings. We're here for the rest of the day.
I have a very important point to make, if you don't mind.
All right.
Thank you. My name is Maurice Sinclair. I am based between Ghana and here. I am a director at IBET SV Ghana, that's Supreme Ventures in Ghana. We've been there for 3 years, and we've been very profitable due to the size of the market. Separately, we're working on spearheading a mission to Ghana next year, Ghana's 70th independence anniversary, for entrepreneurs and business people and cultural travelers as well to explore opportunities and reconnect with Ghana. How can Afreximbank help these kind of missions to be successful so that they result in meaningful partnerships and resources?
Okay, so I take it these are trade and investment missions?
Trade and investment missions primarily, yes.
Okay. No, so we have a whole trade facilitation department whose job is to promote trade and investments as well as facilitations. So we do have a full team that is solely dedicated to that. We offer country programs on trade and investments. We do have missions on our own active that is coming up next month. Is one of them. The IATF is another. But yes, if you have specific missions that you want to be a part of, you can meet us after this. Let us have an understanding of your missions and how that ties in with what we want to do or in promoting country investments. And then we would have a view as to how we could potentially partner with you in that endeavor. But yes, it's something that we currently do. I'm happy to look at it. Sorry, can I have the presentation? And I've been told I have 5 minutes. In fact, Eric already provided a lot of that information. There may be duplications here, so I'll just skip as much as I can and get it as quickly as possible. Just emphasizing those I think we need to re-emphasize. So here, my presentation is essentially to give you just some of the key products and strategic programs that we have at the bank. As Eric said, the intention is not to remember everything, but it's just to give you a view as to what you can expect or what you can get in the bank. So my presentation is organized along the various pillars that Eric talked about. First, intra-African trade and AFCF implementation. Then we go to trade finance, leadership in global trade finance, and then finally, I'll touch on industrialization and export development. So in terms of financing under intra-African trade, most of these products are construed under our Trade, Investment and Corporate Finance Department. And as Eric mentioned, we cannot trade what we don't have. And so this slide just summarizes the key pillars around which our intra-African, again emphasis on the N, our intra-African strategy is construed. So first, we need to create the goods and services that Africa and Africans in the diaspora can trade in. We need to be able to connect ourselves, and we need to be able to efficiently deliver and ensure that we are competitive. So this essentially summarizes the cycle through which we intervene, supporting products and activities that create production capacity, supporting key institutions that connect the dots like the export trading companies and companies that develop value chains, as well as providing, be it airports, seaports, and efficient energy infrastructure for development. So these are just a summary of the key products that we have that you can get in touch with us for support. Parking credits, as I said, this is mainly and would support agric or agribusiness through the export trading company programs. We do also have and are working on migrant-backed facilities to enable Caribbean citizens in the diaspora or African citizens in the diaspora to invest in products back home and create meaningful investments back home. We do also are supporting the development of the automotive industry. Here we don't want to be end consumers of products. We want to encourage and to support the assembly of vehicles on the continent. We want to encourage and support the beneficiation of the various minerals that we have on the continent. And I know Jamaica has a lot of alumina. If there were any way to support the value addition of that alumina into various aluminium products that will support the automotive industry where they use a lot of aluminium, that would be a good one. Contract agriculture, my good friend that we just talked about. Happy to look at your specific case under contract agriculture since you already have an offtake contract from a well-known buyer. That's something we can look at as well. Then contract and tool manufacturing, for those of you that are in the manufacturing space. Happy to look at supporting and working with you on monetizing a particular contract that you have for manufacturing, which is just the opposite of the contract agriculture. Then, of course, engineering and financial services for engineering companies, for audit firms, and related industry that offer services. We deal not only in goods, but can also support the service sector. Then, of course, our creative industry that we spoke about earlier, both film financing and music, is something that we specifically provide financing for, both on the debt side, but also on the equity side, using FEDA on the equity side, using Canes Creations Incorporated as well on the equity side. And then on the debt side, the bank can provide financing. Then franchise financing, again, we have lots of very good. My daughter told me to bring her some Jamaican patties. I see no reason why we can't have several franchises of Jamaican patties across Africa. So under such a program, under our franchise, thank you, under our franchise financing, we can provide such financing to companies that are already established in Jamaica to be able to externalize and take that. But also for companies that even want to bring in other franchises, other Caribbean franchises, other African franchises here, we're able to work with you under this franchise financing scheme. Then, of course, we have our global credit facilities, which, as Eric mentioned, this is an intentional program and the flagship program under our intra-African trade strategy. Here, we try to capacitize specific companies intentionally, because these are the large companies that can create a value chain. So if we take Dangote, for example, and Eric mentioned $10 billion, you can imagine what that $10 billion has done in creating a value chain for Dangote. And so this is what we expect, and these are the companies we intentionally seek out when we get into every market, to try to work with them to provide them flexible lines, provide them flexible facilities that they can use to develop their business and to create a value chain, because they rely on several suppliers and buyers in their ecosystem. Then, of course, the transit guarantees. Then our investment financing facilities is another very interesting product. And here we provide a lot of direct financing, but also guarantees to enable you externalize, to enable you get beyond Jamaica. So if you're a Jamaican company, you want to start doing business in Bahamas, and we met one yesterday, we're happy to support you and provide you financing as a Jamaican company to expand into Bahamas. For banks that are here, and I don't know how competitive or what your ambitions are across the region, but on the African continent, we have a lot of very aggressive Pan-African banks. In fact, some are even coming into the Caribbean. So you have to lace your boots, because they're going to bring competition. But we have provided or crafted this bank acquisition strategy to ensure that we are able to provide our local banks with financing, with investments, and with advisory support that will enable you to become bigger and better banks. So if you are a bank in Jamaica that wants, again, to open up in St. Kitts, you can come to us, and we're happy to provide the financing to expand into St. Kitts. You have seen a bank in St. Kitts that you want to acquire. Again, we can give you that funding to acquire that bank in St. Kitts. If you need us to put in some equity, we are able to put in equity as well. So we partner with you in getting that acquisition. And if you just need advisory support, that is how to package yourself, organize your business plan, do your market research and everything. We're happy to help you do that as well. Capital is a very big thing for banks. I know the central banks are very keen on capital adequacy. And so again, we came up with an intentional program to support shareholders of banks or bank holding companies. So here we can provide financing to bank holding companies or to the owners of banks, who then inject it into your bank or insurance companies or any other financial institution to shore up capital and ensure you have robust capital so it doesn't become debt on your balance sheet. Our EPC initiative, a very important one at that for us here. I don't know how many big construction companies you have, but through this initiative, we have been able to facilitate over $20 billion in contracts for African engineering, procurement, and construction companies. We have developed a platform where you can register to sell yourself, to market your capabilities, but also in registering onto that platform, you are able to get access to all contracts that our employers tender. And so just by being on that platform, you can get all contracts that are available on the market, and then you can decide which one you want to bid for, which one you want to tender for, and things like that. So there's the training bit. We offer financing as well to ensure that you can compete. Insurance support through through Afreximbank. You can do your insurance management. And consciously, we are working with governments, and I know probably if there are any governments that are here present, government representatives, we're very passionate about this. For far too long, governments borrow money to invest in infrastructure projects. However, that money is taken out by the use of external EPCs. So we're constantly encouraging, we're constantly promoting the use of local contractors and also providing the financing to enable them to do it. Because what then happens most often than not is that we get the contracts to external parties because we are getting the funding externally. But now we're saying Afreximbank is here, give the contracts to the local companies, we will provide them the financing that you would have gotten somewhere for them to execute it locally. But at least the funds stay local and everything stays local. Canex, we have already spoken about that, so I'll skip that. Our Inter-African Trade Fair is coming up next year in November in Lagos, Nigeria, from the 5th to the 11th. This is a platform to begin to think global. Jamaica of 3 million people is probably getting too small for some of you. You need to think of a $3.5 trillion economy, which is Africa. And so through the Inter-African Trade Fair, you can do your exhibitions, you can do your business-to-business contacts, you can do your own country if you want to sell and market your country. These are all opportunities that we have under the Inter-African Trade Fair that will come up next year. Then, of course, Active is next month. This is your own event. This is in your own backyard in St. Kitts. We expect to see Jamaican companies participate and take advantage of the regional opportunities that this event would present. We're expecting almost about 1,000 participants. And so this is a good market access opportunity for Jamaican companies to participate. So this just summarizes some of the programs that we have under the first pillar, which Eric talked about. Now, if we move to the second one, which is the leadership in global trade banking, there's the lines of credit, which Eric talked about. We have the Afreximbank Trade Facilitation Program, which is again targeted at banks to support with LC confirmation, bank-to-bank reimbursement, promissory note ovalizations, bonds and guarantees, as well as trade confirmations. So for banks that are here, we're happy to engage further. These are, so the Afreximbank Trade Facilitation Program is for banks that need financing, those that don't need financing, and for those that we just need to develop relationships with the bank where you can also act as a local administrative agent. You can come under our trade finance intermediary program, which creates an ecosystem for us to be able to support and develop integrate the banking system. Then I mentioned this earlier under our SME financing, the factoring. These are what we do under factoring, providing finance, awareness and capacity building, as well as improving the regulatory environment. What most of us find is that you sign contracts between two parties and they say the contract is not assignable. And so with that challenge, it becomes difficult to do factoring. So if you have a model law, it negates all of that. Whatever you write in your contract is null and void. It says there's assignability. And so it doesn't matter what your contractors put on your contracts. So important advocacy point that we're working on to improve the environment. And of course, working with various commercial and central banks to improve it. We can also do forfeiting, which is the longer term of factoring. We do offer up to 7 years financing for forfeiting, of course, on a non-recourse basis and using various negotiable instruments. So you can always engage us for that as well. AFPay, which is just simply normal correspondent banking on open account basis, we offer that as well. So banks or corporate institutions, you can just open accounts with us and use it to do your payments. Okay, thank you. Use it to do your payments. Eric talked about the project preparatory financing. Happy to support and work with you on project preparation to bring your projects to bank. You get all of this anyway to bring your projects to bankability. Limit size $3 million, but of course, it also has a limit size. The project size needs to be at least $30 million for you to come under that program. And of course, there's the joint project preparation facility, which we do with companies. So if there are any Jamaican DFIs or that want to do a joint project preparation facility, we are happy to work with you on that. So that is on the trade finance side. Now we go to the industrialization and export development. Project and asset-based finance, a very key one. There's the project finance bit where we focus on 4 thematic areas: trade enabling infrastructure, manufacturing, extractives, and climate finance. Then we go to the asset-based where we're looking at the maritime assets, tankers, ships, and various vessels to improve maritime transport, and this is particularly key in this market. We also have the aircraft financing because I had to go to Miami from Bahamas to come here, and so we need to have lots more interregional connectivity, and this is where we can finance aircrafts for the local market. Export development, finance and advisory, again, an area that we focused on across 4 key priority areas: industrial parks and export processing zones, as Eric mentioned, agro-processing and agri-related transactions, light manufacturing, and service exports. 4 key thematic priority areas under our export development financing. And of course, for you in Jamaica, tourism is a big part. Maybe medical tourism is a big part. We are happy, and we do support lots of hotel financing, lots of hotel improvements or infrastructure, and we're happy to work with you on developing hotels in this market. Then, of course, there's also the export advisory unit that offers advisory services for developing various export-related projects on an advisory basis, not financing basis. Then the SME department, as I mentioned, for SME financing, we already have, and we are working with the Jamaica, we can work with the Jamaica Development Corporation to partner. They already offer capacity building, we can offer financing, we complement each other. So this is in addition to the factoring, also in addition to the supply chain financing targeted at supporting SMEs in the market. So this is all. And so that's a quick run through. We are here in the afternoon, you can just come engage with us, and we are happy to work with you and explore specific transactions that we have. And I don't want Jamaica to be beaten. We were in Bahamas last week. We originated $750 million of transactions. I don't expect Jamaica to be less than $1 billion compared, looking at the sizes. So please, let's have those deals. Let's discuss and take them forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, no, man. I know it's hard, but good afternoon, everyone. No, man. Me, I want to, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm just here. I won't be long. I know we have heard a gamut of stuff. We've seen an array of products and services, but I just want to let you understand how it's done, like the behind the mechanism of what we do, why we do. And so my name is Natalie Brown. I am the responsible agent of bringing in the capital for Afreximbank. And we are also responsible for the assets and the liability side of the business. I'm not going to take long because I know the time is winding on and persons have to get back to office. So I just want to share with you a little bit about the treasury side of things. And I sit in the office of the resource mobilization. With that is a big team. So I don't want you to think we have a small team. Treasury is a huge team. And we have our liquidity and relationship management team. So yes, we do invest in other banks. So banks who are here, you can speak to me. We do have a back office section. We have our client solution, and I'm going to speak a little bit more about that, as well as our business support division. Now, you've heard this many times in the presentation, so I won't be dwelling on this. However, I'd like to add this section. The bank has raised in 2025 $16.09 billion. That speaks to how credible we are, and I know I have some portfolio managers in the room, some technocrats here. So yes, our ratings have allowed us to do that amount of raise. And what does that mean for CARICOM? As a bank, if you desire to do any form of bilateral loans with us, we can also facilitate that. So you can put your terms together, you can reach out to me, and we can have conversations in this regard. I just want to talk a little bit about our financial position. In 2025, our assets stood at $42.3 billion, and I'm sure by now we are at $50 billion. And so that's where we are at. And that speaks to how much we are aggressive when it comes on to emancipating not just the continent, but CARICOM, the region. It is a massive effort, and we have the ability to do this. I just would like to highlight a little bit about the sectors in which we are in currently, where some of our assets are. So I don't want you to feel like it's just the financial institutions. We have oil and gas, manufacturing, power, government, constructions, health, telecoms. It's a big array. So please let your mind expand to as what it is we can do and what it is we have the ability to do. So this just speaks to how we do it. And I would just like to zoom in a little bit on the section that says deposits and money market deposit. What does that mean? That means that within the Treasury unit, we have the ability to offer securities that our corporates as well as our financial institutions can invest in. We speak a lot about diversification. We learn a lot about diversification. But is diversification really real when people are only diversifying in the US and in Europe? Is it true diversification of your portfolio when it just rests in one section of the region? What I'm saying is that Afreximbank is giving you an opportunity to truly diversify. And with you investing in us, you realize that what we are doing is on lending to create real impact. We have a solid liquidity position. So the benchmark is at 100%. And we currently sit, when it comes on to our liquidity coverage ratio, at 203%. It speaks to the governance of the bank and what we stand for. So persons are asking, you guys are not regulated. No, we are not. However, as you can see, based on all of the credit agencies that we have stepped up to and we're asking for these ratings, we have to make sure that we maintain certain benchmarks. And it shows how strong our liquidity position is currently. The bank closed 2025 with a robust liquidity position holding $6 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Sounds good, right? Sounds like a bank you can invest in, correct? Not talking strong, I'm not hearing you strong on the yes. So I sit in the Office of Resource Mobilization, and I just want to say that we do offer simple products. They're not very technical, and we call them our time deposit account, which is simply a money market instrument, and I can speak more about it after. So if persons are interested, you can come to me after, because I'll be able to walk you through the process more. I don't want to wear you out any longer. We also offer commercial papers for those who are interested in more longer dated assets. This is the process flow. We use Bloomberg, emails, Swift, all of these on the front page to deal our trades. Right now, when you see me sitting at the table, I'm doing trades with countries in Suriname. I'm doing trades on the phone. So yes, that's what I do, because at the end of the day, I want to ensure that my region is empowered. So a lot of you may be asking where we're coming from, what's our track record? So when we started this program, or this deposit program, we started out with 2 counterparties. Currently today, we are at 178 counterparties, meaning institutions that invest with us, that deposit with us. And we do have central bank in the regions that we have onboarded and are depositing, and we do have banks in the region, in CARICOM, that do deposit with us. Jamaica, it's our time to really and truly diversify and experience what we can experience. How to join? Won't go into that. I'm here for the entire day. So all you need to do is to just come on over and we can have that conversation. Last but not least, for those of you who would like to de-risk your balance sheet, we do offer structured client solution surrounding foreign exchange management, interest rate management, commodity price management, structured funding. So we have 4 main instruments: spots, forwards, swaps, and options. Instruments are only used for hedging, and under no circumstances we speculate any at all. So if you are interested in de-risking your balance sheet and wanting to have someone who won, when we offer you interest, it's tax-free. There are no management fees. There are no penalties that we are used to if you have to early uplift. We do not have penalties. And our fee arrangements are extremely, extremely good. Jamaica, it's time for you to experience Afreximbank. Thank you. Thank you, Nat.
Thank you, my sister Natalie. So we have come to the end of a beautiful morning, and we want to say a special thank you to all of you. On behalf of the Afreximbank, we express heartfelt thanks to each of you for making today's business forum a meaningful and engaging experience. We first express our deepest appreciation to the Honorable Ms. Favour Williams. Her commitment and the commitment of the government of Jamaica to economic collaboration and strategic partnerships with institutions such as Afreximbank will benefit Jamaica, the private sector, its people, and all of your communities. We also recognize the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, represented today by Ambassador Esmond Reid, Under Secretary for Trade. Their continued support and presence here today speaks volumes. We are grateful to the bankers, Jamaica Bankers Association, the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer, who has been supporting us. Ms. Barbara, thank you very much. Your gracious collaboration, and more importantly, for welcoming us to the Jamaican market. is very important. Thank you. To our service providers, including the technical teams who have been supporting us with the live stream. And by the way, you can view the entire event via YouTube for in your spare time. Yeah? We recognize the technical team for their professionalism, their hard work, and seamless execution in making today a success. To our stakeholders and corporate partners, your presence here signals confidence and a shared vision. Thank you for being part of this historic event. Your participation underscores the growing appetite for transformative projects and deeper trade between Africa and the Caribbean. To our dedicated colleagues from across the Atlantic, led by our Group Managing Director for Client Relations and Regional Operations, Mr. Eric Intong, thank you for your commitment to deepening the bank's presence across global Africa and ensuring that we bring tailored solutions to meet the needs of our communities. As we close off today's session, I wish to remind you that our team, we are here, we are present, we will try to meet with all of you, and for those we cannot meet today, we will organize virtual meetings in the coming weeks. So please, if we're unable to meet with you, let's exchange business cards and organize meetings over the next few weeks. We are committed to listening, engaging, and partnering with you as we work towards empowering Jamaica's growth, catalyzing trade, investment, and industrialization through Tailored Afreximbank Solutions. Let today mark the beginning of strategic partnerships that will drive long-term value across Jamaica. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you, Jamaica. Thank you. This is the end.
Interventions based around 4 pillars. Pillar 1, intra-African trade and AFCFTA implementation. Pillar 2, industrialization and export development. Pillar 3, leadership in global trade banking in Africa. And Pillar 4, financial sustainability. Afreximbank, transforming Africa's trade.
There's a great opportunity. It is about our cultural heritage and our global influence.
This will bring the change. We can generate so much to the economy. We can take our destiny in our hands.
To create prosperity, we must have the intra-African trade. One single market, it must happen in Africa. And by the grace of God, we'll push that through.
It's a story of collaboration and it's a story of vision.
We want to compete favorably. Absolutely nothing can stop us from achieving that dream.
I think we are here to stay.
Africa's challenges require African-led solutions.
We see knowledge sharing, we see skills advancement.
There's a great opportunity for Africa to industrialize.
We are pioneering everything we do on the continent.
The scale is extraordinary.
The significance is huge.
This is a vision we believe in. This is a vision that has impact.
Africa will not be left behind.
It's shown what can be possible on the continent.
I feel empowered.
Today, it's a dream come true.
People will look at Africa as having found itself.
The baobab, tree of knowledge, tree of life, symbolic of Africa's richness of wisdom through the ages, spreading roots across the continent, a timeless foundation to anchor, enrich and inspire each generation, and the inspiration for the Afreximbank Academy, AFRICAD, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub. Established to advance African talent across our stakeholder groups, including corporates and SMEs, sovereigns and parastatals, financial and educational institutions, and Afreximbank staff. AFRICAD strives to build the capacity of Africa and Africans in all trade-related matters, enhance knowledge and skills in trade finance across the continent, create a center of excellence to facilitate knowledge transfer, best practice, research, collaboration, better connection among the bank's internal and external stakeholders, and improve stakeholders' ability to support the bank's mandate of transforming Africa's trade. Ultimately, AFRICAD is the go-to hub for Afrocentric trade knowledge, helping to unlock trade development opportunities across the continent. The Academy provides high-impact learning solutions in trade and project finance, industrial capacity, innovation, professional development and leadership, trade language, and knowledge and networking, helping to rapidly digitize the future of Africa and improve the trade environment by promoting knowledge of trade and commodity finance, risk-based financing, robust and transparent product standards, access to financing, sustainable business practices, and by embracing cultural and language differences, expanding the knowledge of trade agency professionals, as well as automating, digitizing, and instigating innovation. Learning is delivered using the hybrid approach, combining physical locations and digital channels to maximum effect for a fully immersive AFRICAD learning experience. Discover how you can start leveraging the Afreximbank Academy today at www.africad.com. Afreximbank Academy, the Africa Trade Knowledge Hub.
The African Export-Import Bank, a proudly Pan-African institution with a vision to transform Africa's trade. Our mission, to stimulate a